Hey everybody, Reefgrrl here, and welcome to Reefgrrl Live. I'm so glad you could make it. The whole idea here is to have some fun, chat, ask a few questions, maybe show us what you're doing, and get to know each other a little bit better. So sit back, relax, grab a drink. The stream is about to begin. Hi everybody, we're back Saturday night. Woo! I'm glad I could make it back this week. Last 2 weeks was kind of rough, and I fell. This is what's left of my arm bruise, and you don't want to see my leg bruises. Went down, missed a step. What did I tell you about ladders? Ladders and steps. I had another accident. Stepped off when I thought it was going level, and it was down a step, and I went right down. And I did something to my knee. So I wanted to mention that now in case I do need to get up and walk around, because the bruises are doing okay on my leg, but I've been told I do need to avoid sitting for long periods of time, because who wants a blood clot at this stage, right? But I think I am going to need to see a doctor about my knee because something's up with it. So welcome everybody. That's enough about me for now. Let's say hi to peeps that are in the chat waiting for something to happen. Hey, Tony Close, UK Reef. Tony was first. Welcome. Hi, Cindy and everyone. Looking forward to the stream. Me too. Missed you guys last week. Couldn't talk, but yeah, it felt weird Saturday night. Really did. Hey, Filipino Reefer, Benny. What's up, Reefgrrl? Can't wait for tonight's event. Yeah, you and me both. Hey, Ryan Shackleton, welcome from the UK. Ryan, I did get your email, and yeah, sure, I think you have the link. So if you feel like popping in for a chat, it's okay if you can't show your tanks, but I'm pretty sure a couple of weeks ago you had something exciting you were doing with new corals you were getting, so it'd be cool to hear about that. And Akan Skywalker 56, good evening, welcome. Another fun, exciting night from Benny. And thanks, Benny, for being my thumbs up guy. Thumbs up when you can, please, and thanks. That's great. Apparently, a lot of thumbs up early on gets the stream recommended by YouTube, so more people can find it. So you never know what reef keepers are doing on a Saturday night. Maybe someone who's never heard of it or heard of me or didn't realize what was out there might just find it. Hey, Hector, Calypso's Reefs. Glad to see you. The Some Kind of Guy, what up, y'all? Hey, the Some Kind of Guy, haven't seen you here before, welcome. And there's Pappy Reefer, hello. And Ugly Man's Reefing, hey, Shane, I hope you're doing well. B Speeg, thank you. I am. I'm just about back to normal. I was kind of worried a couple days ago because, well, in allergy season, you get the post-nasal drip that makes your throat hurt. And then your voice sounds all weird and strange, but that seems to have settled down in the last day or so. So we'll see. And I haven't had to do any drinking. Not that I do drinking, but sometimes they say that helps relax your throat. I don't know. I will never know. Hey, T40. Glad you could make it. Hello. I pray everything is okay with you. I hope your knee is not damaged. Yeah, me too. At this stage in life, I really don't want to be in a situation where I can't even go for a walk. It doesn't hurt to stand on it. I'm sitting here now. My leg is kind of slightly bent under the table. Doesn't hurt. But if I try and bend it, it hurts. And it doesn't feel right. You just know. And there's deep, dark bruises coming out of it now. So who knows? I might have ruptured something. It's hard to say. It took the brunt of the fall. And I've been saying I'm lucky I didn't break any bones. But who knows, right? Hey, Nano Joe, glad you could make it. And Dell's Reef. Nice to see you, Dell's Reef. So I don't know how many of you guys might have seen the video I just put out yesterday about all the stuff that we did to change to our house to allow for the tank to be safe and secure, sitting in this room. And I've said before, you could park a car in here. That's how well supported it is. And right at the end, I put the pictures that I showed you guys, I think last time we were on, of my new tank. Well, now, apparently, as of Thursday morning, my tank was getting ready to, no, actually, it was sooner than that. it was a couple days before that, maybe Tuesday, I learned that they were getting ready to ship my tank. So they said it would be either end of this week, which would have been yesterday, or next week, early next week. So that's great. That's fine. I'm all excited. Wow. I think I put a post on Instagram, or I might have sent it to a couple of people privately. I can't quite remember. So then we get a letter on Thursday saying the paving company is going to be doing the street outside our house because it's a new area, and they always put down a first layer of asphalt, and then there's that little divot by the curb. They have to put on the second lift. And what they would be doing, we couldn't park in our driveway. It would be sometime in the next week to 10 days. So I immediately got hold of Fish Store Guy because I thought, oh, like with my luck, the truck with my tank would show up right in the middle of that, and I didn't want to take the chance. So unfortunately, even though they were getting ready to ship my tank, we've requested that they hold it for another week just to be safe. I have not heard back about that. I'm really hoping that that can be done, because at this point in time, after almost 6 months, it would really suck if the truck couldn't get in here to drop it off, and then we had to go through a whole who knows what to get the tank here. Would it be dropped over by the mailbox? I don't know. I have no idea what they would do in that case, and I would much rather avoid the stress of that. So I'm really hoping that the tank builder will be able to hold off for a week. And as much as it's killing me now, because I was so happy that I could finally make plans to get the tank on the stand and start figuring out how to add water and rock and sand. Yeah, no, that's going to get put off until we hear back from the tank builder, and at least 10 days, or when the paving gets done, whichever comes first. So, it's been a bumpy ride, but once it's here, hopefully that'll be it with problems like this. Who else have we got here? Hey, Bert Minshew, glad you could join us. Hey, Reef Keeper, yep. Hi, Reefgrrl and everyone in the chat, listening in like always, working on the new tank. Picked up more coral today. Ooh, that's cool. That's great, Phil. If you haven't come across Reef Keeper before, he is on Instagram, and he has been showing posts of his new build, which is huge. 96 by 24 by 24, if I'm right, which I believe is 400 and something, Phil. I can't remember whether the 24 by 24 is right. But anyway, he's been cooking rocks for 6 months, just like me, and has the tank up and running with rocks, and is starting to put coral and fish in, and it's looking really good. So if you've never run across Reef Keeper before, prepare to have your mind blown when you see his tank, the Red Sea 525XL, because it's stunning. So yeah. Dells Reef, happy to hear about your tank. Yeah, me too. Hey, One Golf Jones, happy Saturday. Minor setbacks, Joe. Oh yeah. Hey, Waterhouse Jakin. Jakin, I'm sorry. Partially brain dead, I guess. Hi, Waterhouse Jason. Oh, and Reef Keeper says 96 by 30 by 27. So that's got to be well over 400 gallons. That's really cool. Camaro Kid. Okay. Is this like a riddle? If my refractometer measures true seawater, not salt, what should I be using to calibrate it? Is it not like a Cybon or another type of refractometer like that? My understanding was the saline solution that we're given in the little bottles for calibration is deliberately manufactured at 35 parts per thousand, or 1.026. So if you calibrate your refractometer to match that solution when you're using it as a solution to calibrate, then that should allow for accurate measurements on either side of that with whatever sample you've got. And also, seawater isn't consistent in its salinity depending on where it's collected. The surface, if it's just rain, could be low. Reeled it really down deep, where it's not moving so much, could be high. I don't know. I probably don't know what I'm talking about, but my logic tells me that seawater itself wouldn't be contiguous throughout as far as salinity goes. So I don't think that answers your question, but I would get a little bottle of the actual calibration fluid. Don't buy it from American Pinpoint, though, because I bought 2 bottles and they were different from each other. Yeah, it was not a good scene. That's a whole long story. I did a video about it, about buying their salinity monitor. Can't be calibrated. It's just, look for the video on my channel if you're interested. I think I called it, I believe I just wasted $110 or something like that. Anyway, so I'm rambling, aren't I? Hey, Andrew Hudson. Glad you're feeling better. Filled my new 3-foot by 2-foot tank. Did not trust the stand, so drained the tank, and I'm building my own stand. Yeah, now's the time, right? Just when you've started, if you're really not sure, now's the time to do it. Oh, Ryan's here. I'm going to bring Ryan in. I'm not going to keep him waiting, and I'll finish talking the rest of you guys. Hey, Ryan.
Hi, how are you?
There you are in the dark.
Yeah, I've just got a lamp on.
I don't know if you're talking. We can't hear you.
Okay. Let me come back out.
Oh, Calypso's Reef suggests RODI. Yeah, you could use that. And then just make sure that your refractometer is reading 0. I don't know, but sometimes RODI has solids in it. So depending on the purity of it, I don't know. Good question. DDH2 Ocean, same as Red Sea. Yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting question. I haven't had that one before. So Andrew, I remember a couple weeks ago you were asking about how to integrate your new system with your existing system where they have a common sump. And I don't know if, because you had talked about staging the introduction of rock and sand and coral and everything. And I don't know whether you actually got the answers you were looking for as far as tips on how to do it. And I do recall one person in the chat commented to make sure that if you have a common sump, when the power shuts off and the water settles, that your sump has enough capacity to hold whatever's going to flow out of your other tank, as well as the existing tank, because you know how the water level will drop in your second tank and that water goes down to the sump because it's not being pumped anymore. Just make sure your sump is at such a level that it has capacity to hold that extra water. And that was a really good point. So I don't know whether you caught that or not, but anyway. Oh, I can't hear Ryan. All right, well, I'm going to go out and come back and see if it makes a difference. Oh. I'm sorry. It's my streaming device. I'm so sorry, Ryan.
That's all right.
I gotta stop this. Thanks, Hector, for letting me know. Okay, so I finished talking to everybody in the chat by now because I was just blithering on over top of you, probably. So I remember last time we chatted, or when you were in the chat, you were talking about you're picking up a new coral the next day.
Yeah.
That was quite a while ago. That was a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it?
Yeah. A couple of weeks ago. Yeah. We picked up in total 4 new milliporas.
Right.
And to this day, they're all doing really well.
Nice.
Yep. So, we picked up a sunset, which is really nice. So in fact, one of them is actually tenuous, so it's like green with like green and orange, if you like. So that's polyps all out. And there's a couple of unknown millies, as the shops like to call them. So
oh yeah.
How they're going to turn out, we're not sure, but at the moment they're looking nice.
Those are always
just pink, fun. And then the other one's pink and green. So.
Oh, nice. Those are always fun because it's that whole not knowing what's gonna come out of them. And corals are often different in everybody's tank. So what
Yeah,
you get from it might be completely different than what someone else might get from it.
definitely. Yeah, you never know how they're going to turn out. You know,
Yep.
especially these mariculture millies that we have over here in the UK. You could get one that's pink and it could just turn a totally different colour within 6-7 weeks.
Yeah.
So you just never know.
Yeah.
You know. But,
and how are your fish doing? Do I remember right that you had you were having a problem with white spot or something for a bit?
yeah, so I lost my tang, I lost my rafts.
Oh yeah.
So I went through a fallow period for about 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
So just literally Friday, we
Mm-hmm.
picked up a yellow-eyed coal tang.
Oh,
He's one of my
nice.
favourite tangs.
Mm-hmm.
And he seems to have settled in well. He's grazing all day, every day. He feeds really well. There's no sign of him scratching around the rocks or anything like that. But I
Mm-hmm.
will keep an eye on him. But
Yeah.
so we will start to put a few more fish in there.
Yeah.
But it's more about corals for me, not fish. But it is
Mm-hmm.
nice to have a couple of fish in there. You know.
A couple places recently in videos and live streams, people have talked about the importance of having fish for coral health because of the nutrients from fish poop, right?
Yeah.
And so that's put a different perspective on it for me. And Reef Bum had one of his rapping with Reef Bum was with David Saxby.
I watched it. Watched it the other
Did
day.
you?
Yeah.
Wasn't that cool? And
It
he
was
has
brilliant.
like 400 fish in that tank. So you know what I did? I went away and I did the math. And guess how many fish I could have in my tank when I get it?
Well,
80.
what? Wow.
So I mean, my stock list has about maybe 45, and they're all different sizes. So the biggest would be, I don't know, maybe a pink tail trigger ultimately when it's
Yeah.
full grown, or maybe the Desjardins, but sailfin. But anyway, I thought,
Wow.
and you know, it's when you listen to him and how simply he runs things, even as complex as his whole plumbing setup and everything is. He's got a phosphate reactor. He carbon doses when he needs to with he didn't say what it, or did he say vodka? Did he say vodka or with
Yeah.
vodka? Yeah.
Vodka, yeah.
Yeah, and his filtration, and he just stays right on top of what the levels are, and it's just absolutely amazing. The tank is 42 inches tall. I forget how many. I think he said the whole system is 3,000 gallons.
Yeah,
I think so.
it's a big thing.
12,000 liters total.
Yeah.
So pretty amazing. Pretty
Oh, it's
amazing.
brilliant to listen to him. You know, people like that I could sit and listen to for hours because
Yeah.
you learn, you actually pick up things. And someone who's been in the hobby for that long, and you look at his tank and you think, wow.
Yep. He's forgotten more than I'll ever know.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
For sure. Oh, hey, MB Reef, welcome. Okay, Andrew Hudson tested it before I drained it, and the sump just managed to hold the water from the pipes and backflow from both tanks. Yeah, that's the scary part. You might need an emergency out of that sump somehow to catch any overflow, just in case something gets clogged somewhere. I don't know, but anyway, Andrew, if you have any other questions about that or comments about how it's going, and you want to drop it in the chat, or maybe wait for the fourth Sunday for the international live and come on and talk about it, that'd be great. I just wanted to make sure that you got answers you were looking for, because I sort of got distracted away from that when we started talking about it. I learned that when I listened to the replay, and so I wanted to apologize if we didn't get you enough information because we didn't talk about it long enough. MB Reef, hi. Oh, there's ATF in the house. Good evening, Cindy and your crew. Hope everyone's doing well and having summer with your tanks. Yeah, so far so good. Oh, and Reef Keeper, 80 fish. That's a nice number. Whoop, whoop. I already have 10 in the new tank. It looks like a ghost town. Looking forward to putting in large tanks I've never been able to keep before. Yeah. Hey, Fletcher, right? Cindy, you sound better. Yeah. My voice doesn't cut in and out. I guess it's an improvement. Oh, jeepers. Alan, fragging the softies again. Plenty of Tyrene neon green toadstools. Green Sinularia are tough, sneaky little escape artists. Those things are slippery. I find even like Xenia and things like that. You can't pick them up with tweezers. You pretty much have to have either a net or some kind of a container or surface, like a lid from a container ready to put under them so that you can corral them, because those things really are slippery. Fletcher Wright. Did I say hi to you, Fletcher Wright? Yes, I did. ATF in the house. Your tank should be here soon, right? Yep. At the beginning, I was talking about how we got the glorious news that it was being prepared for shipping. And I'm pretty sure that was Wednesday, now that I think back, because of events of the week. And then on Thursday, we got a letter saying they were going to be paving out front in the next week or 10 days. So I immediately got hold of Fish Store Guy and asked him whether it could be pushed back a week, because with my luck, the big semi-trailer would end up pulling up in front when the paving was going on. So I haven't heard back to confirm that, but that's not unusual. So I'm not from the Fish Store Guy perspective, from the tank builder guy. So we'll see what happens. And if we can't hold it back, then I think we'll have to arrange with the freight company to store it. And I don't even care if I have to pay storage for a couple of nights, because there's no way I want to deal with how, like, can you imagine pallet jack down the sidewalk and across the road? Like, no, I don't even know how that would work. So anyway, I am actually allowing myself to start thinking of the logistics of filling the tank with water, filling it with, getting the rocks out of the rock totes downstairs, getting it reassembled, hopefully put back together the same way I built it. I used a black Sharpie, a really heavy one, and I put join marks to where the two different pieces touched each other. I kind of drew a line across, and I took video of it. So probably when I pull them out of the rock totes, they're all going to look the same. And I won't be able to tell, right? So I guess we'll find out. So I got some new fish. You want to see a video of my new fish?
Yeah.
Let's see here. I've been talking about getting these fish, and I finally got 2 of them. There's one more that's yet to come, but because it's a tang, it's being held a little longer to make sure that it's going to get through QT okay. So here we go. 2 little buddies. Desjardins sailfin at the top there, and a purple tang. And this was Sunday. I got them on Sunday because Nick from the fish store came to scope out the plumbing and stuff that would have to be done here for the tanks. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with them. They're doing great. Their fins are a little tattered because I think they were in with the big boys for a while before they came here, once they were done getting medicated. So they're looking really good. So tomorrow it'll be a week, and I've seen no signs of any problems with them. And they swim around together, and I just hope the purple tang doesn't turn into a jerk, because it could happen, right? You're taking your chances.
Yeah, that's why I won't have a purple tang or a yellow tang, for that exact reason, because they turn out to be jerks. Especially the yellow tangs. I find them to be so nasty.
It's funny you should say that, because I had a yellow tang. He was a great little fish, but he was little. And then I lost him shortly after another fish. Well, I was moving rocks around, and I think he ran into the rocks and hurt himself, and it was game over. Anyway, as soon as I knew that I had somehow signed myself up to have 4 tangs, I already have the Tomini. Then I got the purple and the Desjardins, and then I got the gold rim. I bought them.
Very nice.
I thought, I better check and see how I'm going to get these guys introduced, whether they all go in at once, whether I have to, put them in a certain order or whatever. So I've been reading a 72-page thread on, I think it's Reef to Reef, about tang aggression. It is really excellent. And I've discovered that the gold rim tang is one of the least aggressive of the acantharous tangs, the powder brown, powder blue type. The powder blue is, the jerk of the family. The powder brown is almost as bad. But the gold rim, which is like purpley black with yellow at the top and bottom, beautiful fish. I think Achilles is also an acantharous tang, but they're pretty delicate. But anyway, it's one of the least aggressive of the acantharous. So that's good. And Tomini tangs are way down the list of aggression. Purple tangs and Desjardins. Desjardins are usually the peacemakers or any sailfin tang. So what they say is to introduce a purple and a yellow and a Desjardins as a trio, and they'll usually be fine because the Desjardins will act as a referee. And so I'm not getting a yellow probably because the price is just crazy. But it was really good to read through this thread because there's a lot of really good hints and tips. And the conclusion is that I need to introduce them all together.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. Andrew Hudson, how heavy is your new tank empty? 2 of us had a job carrying my 3x2 foot. My tank empty weighs about 650 pounds. And that was one of the things I had to find out when we started building our house, because the builder needed to know how much weight to engineer for this room. And so I went online and went to a calculator, and 5/8 inch glass with, at the dimensions, 60 by 66 by 21, plus the overflow is 60 wide by, I think, 6 inches front to back and about 10 inches deep. So I figured all that out. And the stand is 2-inch steel. And there's another place you can find out what that weighs. There's a little extra weight because it has platforms that are going to be flip-up platforms around it. So there's probably another 100 pounds there. Water, of course, 8.8 pounds per gallon. So if the tank holds, if it's 320 gallons, even though it calculates to 360, I think I calculated it to 360 and then added a little bit for rock, even though displacement is supposed to take care of that. And I have 240 pounds of sand. So I added all of that together. But the tank itself, I've contacted who I hope I will be able to hire to move it. And basically, it's going to be in the garage. They just have to come up 3 steps onto the porch, over the threshold in the front door. And this room is right beside the front door, and there's double doors that go into it. So I think if they have the right equipment, and that's why I want these guys to do it, because they do large installations, or they do installations of large systems. So the other part of it is I need them to be insured, because moving companies usually won't touch aquariums because they're not insured for it. So they don't want the liability. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. You had such a simple question, and look at me rambling on. Oh, jeepers. Reef Keeper, I had to climb in my tank full of water to lower my rockscape. It was a sight to see. Should have filmed it. Yes, you should. I bet that was fun. Camaro Kid, what's your final thoughts on running your other tank on a canister filter? Any negative impact? I don't believe there's any negative impact. And the biggest thing I would say is do a better job than me keeping it clean, because I think that's one of the reasons that the algae went so crazy after I lost my herbivores, the foxface and the Tomini tang, was that there was nothing to eat the algae. And I should have accelerated the maintenance on those things. Instead of doing it every 6 weeks, I should have done it probably every 3 weeks, just to change out the water, rinse out the media. I mean, always in salt water, of course, because of the bacteria. And I did have 1 or 2 filter pads in there just to try and keep the detritus in the media down to a minimum. I should have changed it more often. But other than the other part of that was the intake for the filter being in the aquarium. I would make sure it's a place where you can actually reach the bottom strainer, because that thing got loaded with algae. So if I would do any kind of cleaning of algae, you try and get it all, you turn off the flow and whatever, but even if some of the fish or invertebrates are dislodging the algae and it starts flowing through the water, the slots in the strainers at the bottom of those filter intakes are really slender. And the problem I had was it was really difficult to reach where I had that thing. One was in the back corner, to get a brush down there and brush that stuff off regularly. But as for impact on the tank, this is the second tank I've run on a canister, and the first was my 29-gallon cube. And I don't think there was any issue that wasn't caused by my lack of maintenance. So that's the only thing I would say about a canister is you really, I think, do have to stay more on top of keeping it clean. Not spotless, but staying on top of swapping out the filter pads and rinsing the media, because I have video of how disgusting the water is after you pull out all the media and everything else and what's left in the canister. It is almost sludgy. Like it's not like water. It's more like thin muck. Yeah. So will I have sand or bare bottom? I will have sand. And that's one of the big jobs we have to do, is get the sand rinsed and dried and into pails. And it's Carib Sea Aragamax. I have 8 30-pound bags. I don't know if I'll need them all, but my rock has to go in first, of course, and then I can put the sand around it. And because my rock has been cooking, it's live. That means I have to get water over my rock so it doesn't die off. And you know what that means? I have to put the sand in after the water's in.
Oh,
I know, right?
oh dear.
So we are washing that sand, and we're going to spread it out on tarps on the front porch. Make sure there's no chloramines. We have to check the local water supply and see whether because our RO system will take care of it. But as for water right out of a hose to rinse sand, we might have to fill the bucket after rinsing with water, put chloramine or put a conditioner in it and stir it around and let it sit before we drain it off. But we'll see. A couple things to find out. Yeah. How about adding a purple 3 to 4 inches to a Desjardins that is 6 inches? Would they go after each other asking for trouble? From my reading, Desjardins can be very aggressive, but they don't generally go looking for a fight like purples or yellows or some other tangs. Powder blues have to be the boss, that kind of thing. So like I would say you're unless you've really got a purple that's a jerk, I don't think the Desjardins would go after it. It might be the other way around if the purples decided that he wants to be the boss. But I read lots of anecdotes about how people introduce different types of tangs and different combinations. And it was pretty interesting that a lot of times they would catch the purple and remove it because it was the cause of all the problems. So the 2 fish that I showed you in the video are only little. They're maybe 2.5 inches. So I'm really hoping that if they're buddies now, that they'll continue to like each other. And that Desjardins, I mean, he'll probably never reach his full potential size, which is 16 inches. In aquariums, usually 12 inches is big. And the purple will get maybe 8 or 9, something like that. So who knows? They may not even make it that long. So we'll find out. Yeah. So Ryan, are you sort of filling up your space now in your tank, or are you still on the hunt for more coral? What do you think?
I think I've got room for a couple of more really special pieces. And then that's it then. The tank's then full. Because the way I've done it is all the millies now are all spread out. So when they grow, they're not going to bump into each other, so I don't have to worry about that. Yeah, I think a couple more nice, even millies or tenniuses. But over here in the UK at the moment, the availability on SBS is terrible. I don't know what's going on with my local fish shops, but they just seem the availability just doesn't seem to be there. So, but I'll wait. They will come eventually, but and the prices as well of them now have just shot up.
Yeah.
A lot. So I don't. But
Yeah, that
yeah,
makes it
I'll
tough.
find them. I'll find two nice pieces. I really want a Walt Disney. That's one of them. But there is a few shops over here that sold Walt Disneys, but they weren't true Walt Disneys. So you know, to me, it was just it was a rainbow tennis just looking at it, but they called it a Walt Disney, which is a bit naughty to be honest with you, because
Yeah, you can only get 45 pounds for a rainbow tenuous, but you can get 450 pounds for a Walt Disney.
yeah. So you know, there was because one of the shops, it's about an hour and a half drive from me, and they said, you know, I've got a Walt Disney, and so I thought brilliant. So me and the girlfriend hopped in the car, drove all the way there, and it turned out to be just a rainbow tennis. So I was fuming because I just drove that
No
long.
kidding. No kidding.
And it's like, so I said to the owner, I pulled him to one side, I said, you can't be saying you've got this coral when it's not a true version of it, you know. So I weren't too impressed when I got there. So, but it goes on a lot over here, especially. You know, people will advertise Walt Disney, they'll advertise Rainbow Millies, for instance. That's another one. Home wreckers, and they're just nowhere near what the coral is itself. So it's not good, you know.
Yeah.
To me, you know, if you're gonna advertise something, it has to be the right thing.
Yeah.
You know, so I wasted most of a day really there just to go and see this Walt. I was absolutely buzzing, you know, thinking that I'm gonna get Walt Disney in my tank. And it just turned out to be a rainbow tennis. I thought, oh, this isn't happening. You know, I weren't happy, but
Oh, you should maybe get one of those brownouts and get some orange glasses and look at it and see if you can spot any colors, because
yeah.
to me that's where the potential is to take something and discover the colors that are in it. That's a lot of fun. And you know, I'm kind of over all of the buzz over the latest new thing. You know, it just is you, and you're right, you really do have to watch the hype, because man, if they're just selling the hype, it's so easy to get ripped off.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
The fact that I drove that long as well to go and see it, you know.
Oh yeah, based on what you were told, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
So
would he have sent you a picture, do you think, if you'd asked?
yeah, he did send me a picture of it,
Oh,
and
did he? Okay.
it looked, from what I could see of the picture, it did look like a Walt Disney. But when I actually saw it in person, I mean, photos can be deceiving at
Oh
times when
yeah.
they send them to you. You know, they
Yeah.
could put all these fancy filters on, and they look absolutely amazing. And when you get there, it's just not even half of what it should be.
Yeah. Yeah.
I picked up that actually when I was listening to Mike Paletta on one of his channels, and he was telling me about the orange filters, the trick that they use with orange filters when they send you a picture and you think, wow, that's amazing. And you can get
Yeah.
it home and it looks nothing like it in your tank. So
Exactly.
you've got to be careful nowadays now, you know, because there's just so much hype, like you said, about them. But,
Yeah.
you know, my local LFS came through with 4 nice millies that were actually what I was told they was going to be.
Yeah.
So I was really pleased, but safe to say, I don't think I'll be going back to that shop again. So,
Not
you
after
know,
that.
no, it's not right, really. You know,
No.
they shouldn't be doing it, and it goes on so much today. You know, you
Yeah.
can
And
type
it's
in
not
on the internet and things like that.
and
Walt
it's
Disney,
not
and
just
they'll come up. You know,
it's not just your time or your even the petrol. It's like jeepers. There's COVID out there now.
yeah,
So, you
exactly.
know,
Yeah.
you're taking a risk, and before you know it, anyway, yeah. ATF in the house. I found a nice healthy purple for a really good price, but haven't pulled the trigger. Well, I guess you could find out whether it's a jerk now, where it's living. Reefgrrl, this is Reef Keeper. I added sand after I had rock and water, lowered it to the bottom in bags, cut the bag open and slowly released. Barely had any cloudiness, cleared up in less than an hour. Yeah, that had been my my original plan, actually, was to make sure the outside of the bags is really clean, lower them down, cut them open, and like you said, just wiggle the bag off really, really carefully. And I'm still worried about the amount of dust that is in the sand. So I don't know. We're probably going to do the tube trick. We'll get a long piece of PVC. We'll make sure the sand is dry, and we'll just pour it into the PVC and just direct it everywhere we need it. Because I think that works pretty well also. And yeah, that when I started up the 90, I didn't rinse the sand because I thought, well, how bad could it be? And, oh yeah, it was very bad. So we'll see. Maybe I'll run myself right out of time and I'll end up doing it that way. Anyway, oh, okay, so 2 bags per day. That makes a lot of sense then. Because, the other thing that happens is as soon as you stir it up to want to move it where you want, you end up having such a bad cloud, you can't see anything. That's not the only bad thing. That cloud deposits on everything. It gets all over the rocks, the glass, the back panel, any power heads or anything you have in there. It is bad news. And that's the main thing I wanted to avoid, was having this sediment everywhere. I guess my voice is starting to go a little weird. Maybe we'll consider. Yeah, well, don't thank me. The Desjardins is boss, but doesn't really go after anyone. Even the 6 to 7 inch Linares wrasse kept in check. Yeah, that's kind of what I read. Like they put other fish in their place, but they're not aggressive in the sense of harassing other fish. They just keep control of things. And it's one of my favorite fish. I've always loved them. And the Desjardins versus the I can't remember the Latin name for the Pacific sailfin. The one that has the dark and light stripes and the yellow tail, the Pacific sailfin. The Desjardins has the freckles all over its face, and it's got all the yellow and orange in its stripes. They're just so stunningly beautiful. Oh, Andrew Hudson, I poured the sand down a 3-inch diameter clear tube straight to the bottom. It settled very well. Yeah, that might be what we do. Never had a Desjardins, but it's on my list for the new tank. Yeah, Phil, I did some looking to see what people had to say about them, and that was the general conclusion I came to, was that, okay, I'm prepared to have one, because I really do try to avoid introducing fishes that are going to cause trouble. And that's why this purple tang is kind of unusual for me, because I know their reputation. And I'm hoping I'll get lucky, but I'm fully prepared if I don't. I got 265 gallons of sump that he could go in, and I'm sure I can make a nice home for him with some rocks down in one of the 100s or the 150 in the basement, and still keep him, but not have him wreaking havoc with other fish. And then, of course, catch him and try and reintroduce. Who knows, right? But now I have options. Whereas before with the other tank, I didn't have options. If it didn't work, the fish would have to come out and I'd have to rehome it if I could catch it. Yeah, they do go through a great color change. Oh, hey, Kaler's Aquatics and Exotics. Lurking and water changing. I left a thumbs up. Thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, this past week, I finally, after 4 years, located another bright orange blasto with a green mouth, like the one in my picture that I lost in Apocalypse 3. Wow, that's awesome. So yeah, Alan, that apocalypse was, if I remember right, last February, like February of 2020. You did a whole bunch of fragging of your softies and other stuff in your tanks, in your various collection of tanks. And then COVID hit, and you were super, super busy because of that. And you had some issues with the holding tank where you put all your frags, and a lot of it didn't survive, if I'm remembering right from I guess that's almost a year and a half ago now. So yeah, it's good. That's great. Phil, FYI, I use Carib Sea Special Grade Live and added 2 20-pound bags a day. No sediment on anything, worked out slick. First time ever trying it this way. Good, no issues. Awesome. That's good to hear. Oh, Kaler's Aquatics. My Desjardins is getting large and still pals around with the fox face. Nice. Yeah. Fox face is also on my list to replace, but the LFS is in a city that doesn't allow venomous creatures. So if he does get me a fox face, I pretty much have to go to the store and pick it up the same day he gets it, because they're not allowed to have them because of the spines being venomous. So I don't know what they do about lionfish and stuff, whether they have those. Oh, cool. Andrew, I added the sand already wet. Yeah, I was wondering about that, because you know how it gets so sticky. And I was thinking if the sand is wet, it wouldn't slide all the way down to the bottom. It might end up clogging in the tube. So I don't know whether you would just pour water in after it to wash it down, or whether as you pull the tube up, it would slide out the bottom, kind of like when you're siphoning. Because come to think of it, I guess when you're siphoning, the tube is wet and the sand doesn't stick in it because it's suspended in the water. So, oh, that's interesting. I'll have to keep that in mind. Oh, hey, multiple aquariums. Hello, Reefgrrl, Kaler's Aquatics and Exotics, and everyone in chat. How are you doing? And yes, I still do owe you that email, but the last couple of weeks have been a bit crazy. I did flag your email, though, that I got quite a while ago. So that's step one. So maybe I'll sit down tomorrow and get back to you about that. Okay, so what else news have I got? The fish, the tank got delayed. Yeah. So, Ryan, you were saying actually as of Friday, your fallow period, you figure is over for fish?
Yeah. So it was exactly 3 months that we went fallow.
Yeah.
Because I can't have white spot hit again. It's not fun. And you lose
No.
fish that you've had for so long, and they're just gone like that.
Yeah.
So I just couldn't take that risk. But now we've got the Cole Tang in there. He seems fine, but again, it's still early days for him.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'll put another fish in for, I don't know, maybe a couple of months. Let him settle, see how we get on. So I want to put a nice wrasse in there, to help with the pests and things like that. But I'm terrified of getting another fish and bringing it in, and it's still in the back of your mind. What if you bring white spot in with that fish? Because I don't have the time or the room for quarantine here. So
Yeah.
there's one LFS that has all their fishing in copper. So when they bring them in, they put them in there, and the copper obviously helps fight the parasites, but there's no guarantee.
Especially with wrasses, because they're so sensitive to copper. So unless they're set up with like chloroquine phosphate, or something else, it's a little hard to make sure of that. Well, with your LFS, if you have a good relationship with them, would they, do you think, quarantine one for you and treat it? I mean, of course you'd have to pay for it, but it would be worth paying for, because then you don't have to go through it all in your home. And same risk. See, this is the thing. The guy that I had been buying my fish from, fully quarantined, he's a bit of a crazy guy, but he had all of these rules laid out. One of these days, I will get a copy of them, and I'll do a video and I'll just read them, because, or maybe on a live stream I'll read them, because it's hilarious. At any rate, there are fish that he quarantines at the purchaser's risk, because they're really difficult to get to eat, or they're sensitive to medication, or a whole bunch of reasons. And they cost more, of course. And if the fish dies in quarantine, you're out your money and you don't get a fish. Other fish that aren't as sensitive, he quarantines. If the fish dies, it's at his risk. He'll replace the fish. And I have had a couple where that has happened with him. He's completely trustworthy. He's just a bit wacky. So people get really upset with him when he talks about how, no, if your fish dies in quarantine and it's got a star beside it on the list, it's at your risk. And they think he's ripping them off and all this kind of thing. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, wait a minute. This is the same net result as you could have if you went and bought the fish, took it home and quarantined it and it died. The difference is you don't know what you're doing. You don't have access to the medications that he does. You don't have 30 years of experience doing nothing but quarantining fish. And do you have an entire basement full of fish systems that are all in various stages of quarantine? No. So for all of those reasons, it's worth every penny to pay the guy the little bit of, like, what is it, $40 more? Like, what is that in the grand scheme of things to get a fish that's quarantined and going to be healthy when you can put it in your tank, you know? So yeah, it's great if you can have a fish store relationship like that. Essentially, that's what happens with my local fish store now, because when I buy the fish through their website, I usually can't pick them up right away. I have to wait at least a week, and he will not release any fish that don't look healthy. So, you know, if somebody buys a fish and it takes them a while to go get it, if that fish doesn't make it or whatever, it's not like you're taking home a sick fish. I've never found out if I wouldn't think they'd give you your money back, but they would get a replacement fish for you.
Yeah.
So, you know, yeah.
Yeah, I have a good relationship with the LFS that I go to, and I know for a fact that they wouldn't release a fish if it's not healthy, if it's not feeding, and if it's not looking that good, they wouldn't sell it. I wish more shops was like that. But I think the cold tang that I got, he was in the shop for a good 4 or 5 weeks. Because when they did bring him in at first, he wasn't feeding as well as they'd liked him to, being a tang. So they didn't let him go. And when I went into, I had to wait, granted, a while, but I'm not bothered. I'm getting a healthy fish. I'll wait at the time. It doesn't bother me.
Oh yeah.
And when I went to pick him up, he was feeding superbly. So the only thing that I've noticed with him is a little bit skittish at the moment. So when you go near the tank, he darts behind the rock. He'll come out when you feed him. But I've noticed it with a few brittle tooths that I've had in the past that they're very skittish. But he is slowly coming round to me going near the tank. But he's a beautiful fish, though. He really is. He's lovely.
Nice.
But does a great job on the algae grazing on the rocks and stuff. But you know, I'm glad I waited that long for him. You know. But,
it's worth the wait. Yeah, the Tomini Tang is like that too. He's not actively out at the surface when he sees me. But now when I shut the flow off, I see him swimming around a lot more. And of course, I can only look top down at the moment. So I can tell he's nice and fat, which is good. But when I put when I do feed frozen and I put the baster in and spread the food around, he used to take off to the back and hide. And now he waits. Like there's 2 mollies in there, so he'll wait with them. And when the food is in the water, he goes and darts through it, even though I'm right there. So I think it's like you said, he'll get used to you. He's getting used to you, and he knows that you're the source of the food. And
he is slowly coming round. When we put the food in, he's there. But if we go near the tank, he just darts behind the rocks. But he will get there. And it is funny as well watching it though as well. It does make you laugh. And he'll sort of like peek behind the rock and think, "No, I'm not coming out." So it's good to watch. Fish have good personalities like that, you know. But it's a beautiful tang though. So I'm glad I waited to get him. You know, I wasn't in a rush to bring. If he weren't eating properly, then I don't want to take that risk bringing him home.
No,
as frustrating as it is waiting, because you really want that fish in your tank, but you know it makes sense. Leave him at the shop, but they wouldn't release him anyway. Even if I wanted to take him home, they wouldn't release him anyway until he was right, which is good. It's really good. I like things like that.
Yeah. Well, it gives you confidence, and you can trust them because
yeah,
you know that they have. I mean, they're a business, but they have your best interests at heart as a hobbyist, and they want to make sure they don't have an impact negatively on the rest of your livestock. So, I
yeah,
mean, that's a great philosophy for good customer service for
yeah.
long-term relationships, right? Oh
Mm.
yeah.
Same with the
Oh
corals as well. Same with the SPS corals that I get from there. If they're looking pale or there's something not right about them, they'll not release them until they know they're fully, which
yeah,
is good, especially with SPS and millipores and acros.
yeah,
Any paleness, I won't go near them until I know they're
yeah,
perfect. Because
yeah.
they could strip as soon as you get them home, put them in your tank. They may look
Oh
good for
yeah.
two,
Hmm.
3 hours, and all of a sudden, bang, they've stripped, and it's like
Yeah,
you're mortified because it puts
yeah,
you off in a way. So
yeah, yeah. It's
it's a good thing for shops to
such a
have.
waste. Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it is.
Oh, ATF. Oh, that was Apocalypse 4 when I lost most all my toadstools. Great memory. Yeah. Apocalypse 3 occurred. We had, an 8-day power outage back around 2017. Yeah. You always remember those power outages. Andrew Hudson, perhaps you could video an experiment with adding sand to a bucket, or better still, a clear container, may be of interest to a lot of people. Yeah, you know what? I like that idea of the clear container. I wonder if it's possible to get like a large acrylic wastebasket or some sort of a vessel that's like your standard acrylic wastebasket is not very big, and most trash cans are not made of acrylic, so they wouldn't be clear. They're usually opaque, but that'd be kind of cool to film. I think that's a good suggestion. I'm going to think about that, see what I can find. I do have some translucent containers. They're larger totes. Maybe something like that would work because at least even though the shape might be it might be a little shallow and it might be translucent and not clear, you might still be able to see what happens to the sediment. Like, where can you actually see if it floats to the top, or is it mixed all the way through? Yeah, that's cool. That's a cool idea. Oh, Alan, I have lots of survivors from the toadstool disaster despite losing all the mother colonies. Oh man, I remember that. That was awful. Bright green neon Japanese weeping willows and lots of Indonesian weeping willows. Cool. I don't do any remove from tank whole mother colony anymore. Just do a bit of do big fragging. Okay, just pieces at a time now. Never more than a single species. Yeah. Yeah, that was a fragapalooza that you had there. Lots to sell or trade for those interested. So you're in Connecticut, right? So anybody who's in the local Connecticut area, I know Hector is also in Connecticut. And in that general area, my geography is a little sketchy. I'm not sure what states are around you or nearby, but if anybody's interested, I guess you could get hold of ATF in the house or send me an email and I could shoot it over to him. Does he publish stats regarding how many become ill, recover, or don't, etc.? Kaler's Aquatics, do you mean Ryan's LFS about his fish? I'm not sure who. My LFS guy is also wacky, but he won't sell a fish that he hasn't had for at least 3 weeks. All but one of fish I bought from him are still thriving, except for ones that jumped. Yeah, like there's so few and far between like that.
Mhm.
Oh, hey, Taryn. Taryn's lotion is here. Cool. Oh, Carl. I don't know if he does. I don't know if he even keeps track. And I'm not sure he would have to write it down because he has just an amazing memory. Um, but that would be interesting. Next time I'm talking to him, I will ask him because there's a couple of fish that I want that I may not be able to get through my LFS for like a couple different reasons. And or even if it's something that I want fully quarantined for the full month, just because of the type of fish that it is. Because with the LFS, they do medicate them, but they don't have a full 30-day quarantine period. And that's why it helps if they get the fish in on a Wednesday, they're ready for sale the following Wednesday, you buy it and you don't go for another week. You know they've had at least 2 weeks in medication, and you also know that he won't release the fish if it's not looking good. So that's way better than walking into a pet store and grabbing a fish that's just come in the day before because they've put them out for sale already, and really they shouldn't. Yeah.
No.
Any patterns would be interesting. Yeah, Kaylers, I think that's kind of how he's developed his list of fish where he will quarantine at the purchaser's expense. Was in the past, like for example, gold Midas blenny. When I bought mine from him, Elvis, the late departed Elvis, Elvis was actually the second gold blenny because the first one didn't make it. But probably 6 months after that, when he put out his list, the gold Midas blenny had a star beside it, which meant it was difficult to quarantine or sensitive. So maybe after he loses a few, then the status changes because of, he has to pay the wholesaler for them. He brings them home, he puts them in his systems, there's the medication and everything. So if he starts losing money, then of course he would want to make sure that stopped and the fish would become quarantine at purchaser's expense. But he is right up front about it. And honestly, I have no qualms whatsoever obeying all of his wacky rules. Like, for example, you have a week to pick up your fish after the 30-day period is over, or maybe it's 28 days. I can't remember. And he's not going to call you and keep reminding you to come pick up your fish because he is not your father. And if you leave your fish there longer than the week, he'll start charging you $40 a day to keep it there until you pick it up or don't, because after all, he does this to make money. So, like, honestly, that might be quite fun some night to actually read that when I know my voice isn't going to cut out halfway through. Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Johnny Martinez. Hi, Reefgrrl. Hope you're feeling better. Hi, my brothers and sisters of the reef world. I have my pen and paper ready for tonight's knowledge. Love you all. Thank you, Johnny. I am feeling better. It's been a rough couple of weeks, but I showed everybody early on. There's my arm bruise from when I fell, skinned my elbow, but the scab came off today. And yeah, the bruises on the leg are not good. I'm probably going to have to see a doctor about my knee because I'm pretty sure I've done something to it. Oh, cool. Okay, you can share my email address, Southwestern Connecticut. So if anybody is interested in frags from ATF in the House, he has a lot of really cool toadstool frags, as he mentioned, weeping willow types, and bright neon green and things like that. Send me an email at reefgrrl@gmail.com and I will connect you guys. Just say you're interested in ATF in the House corals, and I will forward on your message to him. Okay. Is it Carl? Yes, Taryn, it is Carl. Flipper's Reef. That's a bruise. Yeah. Yeah, I did take pictures of the bruises on my legs because that's the only way I could see them properly, but I will never share those pictures because they're pretty bad. But my knee is munched, so we'll see. So Taryn, do you find Carl a little wacky? ATF in the House, torches, mushrooms, and acans. Benny, I don't think so. It's mainly soft corals, but I could be wrong. Maybe he was talking about blastos earlier. 40-gallon breeder frag tank, one leftover clown from Apocalypse 3, 3-inch Hippo Tang, 3-inch yellow. Oh, there's a college fund right there. 3-inch mimic, still pretty much all yellow. 3-inch Tomini, all have doubled in size from being. Come here, old kid. You're just trying to make trouble, buddy. Yeah, he's not the only one. Yeah, the whole quarantine thing. I know there's a lot of polarization around the subject, And a lot of people will argue that it's stressful to put a fish through quarantine. I think if it's the only fish you're going to have in your tank and you put it in your tank, that's fine. If it's going to go in with other fish who have already established territories and it has suffered stress from shipping and whatever, imagine how much nicer it is if it goes into a quiet environment, its own space with no other fish, places to hide, clean water, readily accessible food that it doesn't have to compete for. And yeah, maybe medication, but generally, my fish, they're in the observation tank, no medication, because they've been medicated. However, I'm keeping them there for at least 3 weeks so that I can watch them, make sure nothing comes out, make sure there's no problems. And if I need to medicate them, I will set up a tank and I will medicate them. I can do that. But I just don't have the facilities for long-term quarantine. Can't do that.
No.
But as far as the whole idea that that fish get stressed from quarantine, my thinking is that it's common sense that quarantine will be like a halfway house for them, a break from stress, a place where they can get some food, get some peace and quiet. It can be low light. They don't have to encounter other fish trying to kill them until they're ready. And if there are any illnesses, they can be addressed one way or another, whatever that requires, whether it's hypo or medication, CP or copper, whatever. Then once they're strengthened, their immune system is back up again, then perhaps they can get introduced to the other colony of fish. I don't get how people don't see that it makes so much more sense, and it's more logical that would be a more advantageous path to get a fish into your existing tank and colony of fish or community of fish. But some people, they're just so strong in their opinions and they won't ever change them. And you know what? We're reaching a point now where, look at the yellow tangs. Like, how many people got a yellow tang and killed it? Guess what? You can't replace them for $39 anymore. And that's not the only fish that's going to happen to. So anyway, sorry, I like, don't get me started because I get really bitchy about it when it comes to that.
Yeah, people don't understand that. That's the problem.
Well,
they have a strong opinion on things, but if you've got a tank that you've had fish for, I don't know, for 5, 6 years, whatever, and you bring a fish home from the shop and it's not quarantined, that fish could bring anything in there and it could wipe the whole tank out. And before you know it, everything's gone.
Yeah.
So quarantine is it's a good idea. If I had the facilities here, I would quarantine all day long, but I just don't have the space for it.
And you have to be realistic about it. And the answer is not pop and drop. If you don't have facilities for quarantine, you don't buy the fish, or you buy it from someone who can do that for you. Like a little self-restraint here, and respect, I guess. I did a video once called "Why Are We So Careless with Marine Life?" And I lost a whole bunch of subs after that, but I didn't really care. People, you can't take it for granted. If we don't know that by now, then we should go back under the rock that we're crawling out from under, because things are changing so fast. It just is crazy. Yeah, Taryn, I've never dealt with him, but I've read his posts. You are right. He's straightforward and upfront for sure, but probably a reason for it. Yeah, and the experience that he's got. So he knows what he's doing. I quarantine my fish, observation for a couple of weeks if needed, meds. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I try to get them healthy. And one way or another, either through Carl, where they've been through 30 days plus 1 week. And I admit, I push it right out. I don't pick them up on day one after the 30 days. I wait the full week. So anyway, or the LFS, where they have them medicated for at least a week before they're even for sale. By then they pull out the ones that were not going to make it anyway. So instead of them putting them on sale the day after they get there and you taking that fish home, they die in the store and they never make it into somebody's aquarium. So for a week, and then I can push it out to another week, sometimes 2. So by then the fish has been there 3 weeks. And if anything's going to show up, that should be enough time for that to happen. And I trust them. He's proved before with my 2 tangs. I went to get them and he said, no, because they're not doing well. And so he medicated them and then they ended up great. Well, you saw them, like they look wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, so Alan, introduced all at the same time, about 1.5 inches each, about 1.5 years ago, and a lawnmower blenny 3.5 inches long, all get along. That's really good to know. Yeah. Really good to know. Oh, no, we're going to have to wrap you in bubble wrap. Yeah, I know. Well, you know what? The whole falling over thing, I've talked to you guys before about how I'm bad with ladders because I step back instead of down because I forget where I am. Well, this whole thing with the steps, they were freshly poured concrete steps. Like a couple of days before that was when we could first walk on them. Everything was white. It all blended in. Got distracted. I was watering plants and I missed that bottom step. And it was really scary. I'm not going to lie. Pretty upsetting. And yeah, so being extra careful now. Oh, so Alan is collecting and looking for torches, acans, etc. Okay, right. Oh, we got Pappy Reefer here. Copper band and QT now. I'm afraid my purple tang is going to do battle with it. Yeah. Yeah, there's lots of, hey, Matt Greer, I don't think I said hi to you. There is lots of good advice about introducing fish, and I've never really had a problem. But I guess with a bigger tank, it's going to be a much larger variety of fish that I'll be working with. Mushrooms too. I have a collector's problem. Anemones. Let's bring Pappy Reefer in. Ultra Rainbow Bubble Tip. Rock Flowers. Looking for other variants of bubble tips. Waiting a green acid wash and purple. Ooh, from Aqua SD. Very cool. Agree. It's poor husbandry to let a fish suffer unseen parasites for months until symptoms are finally seen. Yeah. Taryn, I love that video. Yeah, I was sick and tired of how seeing the disrespect people had. Deep Reef. Whether there's a need for prophylactic treatment in quarantine is probably the question. Agreed. I really agree. I think in fish stores, they pretty much have to do that. However, as a hobbyist, observation tank, when I get it, if it's healthy, watch it for 3 weeks, a month. My first Royal Grandma turned out to have flukes, so I was able to medicate for that. I think I used Prazipro for that. I have Metroplex, I have Furan 2, and I have Prazipro. I also have Cupramine. So I'm well set up for meds if I do need to set up a hospital tank. I don't have a copper checker, so I would be unlikely to use the Cupramine.
Yeah.
Collector. Your heel okay, Cindy. Thank you. I do use API General Cure with new RASes for internals as a prophylactic. Hey, Detroit Hammer. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Some of the milder all-purpose for whatever they can do as long as you follow the instructions, right? All right, Pappy Reefer. Hello, Pappy Reefer.
Hey, Cindy, how are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Well, you've never been here before, so you know what that means, right? Right,
I
Corey?
have been here before, just under a different name, under my real name.
Okay. Darn it. I was going to put on the troll glasses. Darn it.
And then ask me a question I don't want to answer while my wife is sitting next to me, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's not supposed to be scary, but I would make sure that, yeah. But when I do ask that question, I always say, you don't have to give us a number. You just have to say yes or no that you know. Hey, Marcus Arolis, how are you doing? And there's Sean's fish tanks. So what have you got going on these days, Pappy Reefer?
One decent tank and one mess of a tank.
Yeah,
I have my Reefer 650 in the living room,
yeah.
which I kind of cleaned up today, and then I have my highly neglected E170 in the bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
I did do some fragging this past week to take up to the LFS to trade for some store credit.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back to that. I miss that because right now I really am not in a position to do any fragging. I don't have anywhere to keep the stuff. A lot of the corals that I'm holding on to for the new tank are on all the frag racks. So yeah, it's I'm looking forward to getting back to having some gift cards to play with.
Yeah, he just keeps a little tick for me. He writes it down on a piece of paper. He's an old school LFS guy.
Yep.
He's been in the reefing hobby for 25 years.
Wow.
Been
Nice.
selling freshwater. We're a very rural area here.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
there's not
we're
a
about
big reefing hobby here.
yeah. And whereabouts are you?
We're in northeast Pennsylvania.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Cool. So you're kind of
Coal country.
Okay. I think Fish of Hex, I think Lancaster is the closest big city to him. I'm not sure where you are in relation to that. Because Pennsylvania is wide, east-west,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Fish of Hex is probably 2 hours, 2.5 hours west of me.
Oh yeah, that's significant.
Yeah, I have some of his corals. I have a forest fire digitata from him. I have the rainbow granulosa, purple stylo,
Yep.
and the green and purple staghorn from him.
Nice. I kind of see blue light reflected on you. So have you still got lights on in your tank?
Yeah. I don't know why it's so blue here. I do have lights on in my tank, but they're not very blue. I maybe should put the filter on.
Oh yeah, filter would help. They look nice and bright though.
Can I flip the camera from here? Do I use that cam mic settings tab to flip it?
I think so. If you go into there should be the swirl, like the circle thing.
Let me try that. Camera. And where is the facing front?
Oh, you froze. Oh, there we go.
That flipped.
Good work. Yep, you got it.
Grab my filter. It is pretty white light right now, but it looks kind of blue on here.
Here, let's make you full screen.
Let me see if I can.
Yeah, the camera is so weird.
It has like 3 cameras on this phone, and I can't get the clip over it. I can't get it.
I know it's too many. We talked about this before. Too many cameras. It's like buying pantyhose. Who needs 1,000 different choices for pantyhose? I don't. It's too hard.
I'm gonna have to just try to hold it over. I don't know how to get the camera to. Yeah, that's there. That's something.
Oh yeah, that
makes
good.
it more white.
Yep, we can see the colors really well now. Hey, Chimp the Reefer. Oh, Detroit Hammer. Late. We'll have to watch replays. Subject is perfect. I'm building a Q tank. It's getting time to replace populate lost tank. Cool. Cool. ATF in the house has a question. Cindy, you're going to have just one big tank or other biotopes like anemones or NPS? Big tank will be mixed reef. No. Yes, the big tank will be mixed reef. The only other tank I plan to keep running would be the observation tank. And right now in there, I have a clownfish who loves her little colony of green hairy mushrooms. There's a royal grandma in there and the 2 tangs that I just got. And those fish will be going in the big tank. I'm not sure about the clown. I'll wait and see. I don't want to set that up for medication. So it'll just be a place. It's 40 gallons. So it's big enough to put most new fish so that I can watch them for a while. Has a lot of nice hiding spots, caves and overhangs, things like that. So that'll be the only other tank that I actually run. And it pretty much goes on autopilot because it's an all-in-one and I just have to keep it clean. So yeah, I think I'm past the days of multiple tank syndrome. I think. Oh, nice Hippo Tang. That's actually a Regal Tang, isn't it? Like, is that the actual name, a Regal Tang, but people call them Hippo Tangs?
I think they call them. I think the actually is Atlantic blue.
Atlantic, is that what that is?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what the hippo is, I believe.
Nice.
Yeah, he's missing part of his tail. Him and that.
Oh.
Where do you go? That clown back there were bought as little babies, quarter-sized babies, and they fought it out for a minute.
Oh boy. Do you think it'll grow back?
No, because it's been like that for 6 years, 7 years.
Oh, okay. Yeah. He's doing fine.
Yeah, he kind of runs the show in here.
Nice. Yeah, I don't know if I'll end up getting one of those because I guess I'll wait and see if my grandson, when he gets old enough to see Nemo, whether he drives me nuts asking for a Dory.
Yeah, you gotta have a Nemo.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. I never used to think that.
This guy's supposed to be a true Pakula.
Yep. Beautiful. Nice looking reef, says Nano Joe.
Yeah.
Thank you. He lives in these hairy mushrooms that aren't real happy because they're getting too much flow right now.
Yeah. I wanted to let you guys know I was on a live stream. I asked Fish of Hex a question about cutting back green hairy mushrooms because they were killing everything. And basically I was wondering, should I just cut them off and put carbon in to filter out all the gunk that's going to end up in the water? Or should I turn the flow off, try and remove as much as I can, and then turn it back on again? And so we talked about that a little bit. And then Phil, Reef Keeper, got in touch and said he used calc paste and mixed it up and used a syringe to put it in the mouth of any mushroom he wanted to remove. And Phil, if you're listening, oh man, did that ever work? I was able to take a complete ring of 4 huge ones off the front edge, and I now have tons of space for whatever was under there and about to die because it had no light, plus it was being sat on by mushrooms. All of the zoanthids and everything under there are coming back. So calc paste in the mouth, and then 24 hours later, the foot was just about detached, and I was able to pretty much pull them out whole. So
yeah, I never had to do that with these guys. They were really big before when they were in low flow and dirtier water.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I would literally just take a razor blade and cut a piece off, put a piece of mesh around them, and rubber band it around a rock. And in a week or two, they would be reattached.
Wow. And you know, in the LFS, they're fairly expensive.
Yeah, these guys, when they were big, like I said, when they were in my smaller tank with dirtier water and less light, they were basically the size of like a cake dish, like a cake plate.
Yeah, they do get big. Well,
but now
my
they're in high flow and high light.
And the clownfish is trying to make a home. Cool.
That's what the other one lives in the frog spawn. He's always over here in his frog spawn.
Terran's Little Ocean has said, nice Clarky. They're beautiful. Does anyone ever really get over MTS? I don't know, but I'm going to do my best. Oh, Phil's still listening. Glad the calc paste worked. Peroxide can do a number on pest, anemone, and the like. Yeah. Yeah, especially if you can get the rock out of the water. I have taken pipettes and jammed, like filled it with peroxide and jammed it into really thick areas of algae and then squeezed it all out. It does loosen it, but it's not really a practical solution working in the water because you have to be a little careful with how much you put in. Oh, this is the other side?
Yeah, it is the backside.
Nice.
Here we go. It's like the graveyard of where I break things off and they fall down. With a little bit of cyano going on over there.
Yep, yeah. And the Is that a Monty? Like a bunch of layers there up on top of the rock?
Up here?
There,
Yeah, that's a Monty. It has some brown spots on it. I don't know what's going on with it. It hasn't been happy lately, but it's a pretty decent size.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Monopore. It's probably about 11 or 12 inches across.
Cool.
And all these stupid pallies or whatever these pink pallies are pretty invasive.
Pink hippos, maybe?
They just grow and grow and grow and grow. I just cut a whole bunch away from the staghorn because they were killing the base of it.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, your SPS are looking good. Oh, yeah. Is that one of those ones that spreads out over, like it's an encrusting one?
Yeah, it's terrible. I thought I had gotten rid of it, and I try to kill it all the time, but it just. I even put this Hollywood Stunner on top of it, and it did nothing.
Oh my God! Look at that.
And that's the bag. That's supposed to be the Cali Tort from Fish of Hex. It does not grow. I got that frag of the Cali Tort at the same time. I got that frag of the Rainbow Granulosa. And yeah, that one I've been fragging. As you can, there's a big white hunk there. I took a big piece off of. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got that and that frag at the same time.
Huh.
And that one is 10 times bigger than that one.
Isn't that weird? Maybe it's just a weird thing with flow, like, or who knows? Maybe something annoys one or the other of them.
Yeah, I basically got the granulosa, the rainbow granulosa, which is pretty much just solid purple with a little bit of green on the, on the skin. The Cali Tort, actually, there's two pieces of Cali Tort. There are two pieces of the rainbow granulosa. There's another one right there in front of the purple and green staghorn. But I got all those frags at the same time. So that frag there, that was a frag. And them two were frags. And that one is obviously the runt of the family.
It's so weird, eh? Who can tell?
Yeah, I don't know if the torts grow that slow or...
Well, you know what? In my experience, they grow slow to begin with. And when they're happy, they take off. I have a Miyagi tort that was pretty big in the Red Sea tank. And now I have one frag on a frag plug on a frag rack. And the rest of it is still on the original pillar, but it got engulfed with algae. And now that I have the right snails and the tang and everything, the algae is finally being pushed back. And it's really starting to grow fast. And it has massive polyp extension. But what I find with those is it did best when it was kind of in the middle of my tank in lower light.
No, yeah, that guy's not in low light right now. He's about 450.
Oh boy. Yeah. And who knows? Maybe the other one is just like, well, maybe one of them is just off center. It's not in the cone of death of really bright light. It's kind of off to the side a little, maybe. Hard to say.
Yeah, when I asked Fish of Hex about it in an email, he had it in somewhere like 600, 650.
Yeah, right at the top.
Yeah, it was. And some of his corals were going up to, near the 1,000 par range.
Yeah.
The ones that were, breaking out the top of his tank.
Maybe he had a lot of fish poop in there, so they could use it.
They have those green pallies that are kind of invasive also.
Yeah. Oh, be careful of the green ones. I don't trust any pally that... Oh, is that a Lamarck's angel you got there?
Yep.
Very nice. Yeah, I don't trust any pallies or zoanthids that are like solid bright green because I think they're bad news myself.
Yeah, I didn't put these in there. They came in on something.
Yep,
and
that's what happens.
They are very hard to get off.
What happened with mine was I got a really nice zoanthid colony rock at the local fish store. I brought it home. I put it in my tank. It did great. Then it started to die back. And these beautiful teal green, I thought they were zoanthids, but they're pallies, started to fill in all the spaces and grow. Then they took over everything. Those were the toxic ones. So I guess they were killing everything in their path.
Yeah, well, that's what these pink things are doing. I keep laying rocks on top of them. I don't know what color they're showing up there, kind of orangish they look, but they're really pink.
Yeah.
And they kind of came in the same thing. There was the green ones there that are pretty much, they have like the lime green lashes and then the green centers. And there was another colony over here that were green and had orange centers. You might be able to see a little bit of them in the middle of there, but these pink ones then just took over all of it.
Yeah.
And they're taking over my A-cans back there and making them angry or sad, however you're looking. I keep pulling them out, but I pull out like hundreds of these things a month.
Yeah.
And then everything in the tank gets mad because of the toxins that they're releasing as I'm ripping them off the rocks.
Are you able to take any of the rocks out?
Yeah, some of them. And what I've been doing is actually laying rocks on top of them, like rubble rock.
Yeah.
And then like within that like 10 to 15 days, they start growing onto that. And I just pull that rock out and get them out.
Yeah.
But when they're wrapped around like they were up on, under there, I go in with the hemostats and grab them and rip them off. But that starts to make everything angry when I see when the leather starts curling up over here and retracts all its feeders. It's like, okay, time to stop.
Throw some carbon in there. Yeah.
I actually have carbon and purate.
Yeah. B-Speak says, Rhodey ice cubes, hold them against the mushroom and they'll shrivel and drop off the rock. I'm going to try that because what amazed me about the calc paste was after the 24 hours, the foot kind of became translucent. And then I was able to get my long curve tweezers and gently, completely detach it, and nothing got left behind. So I was super impressed with that. So if an ice cube will make it completely let go, that would be awesome. Oh, Matt Greer says that green staghorn grows like crazy. Oh, and ATF in the house is asking how the hippo gets along with the yellow and the others.
They don't really have any issues. They are fine. The yellow was actually the last tang that I put in. I had the hippo and the Tamini in first.
Yeah.
And then the yellow somebody brought up to the LFS, from a tank teardown. And I bought him, threw him in, and didn't have any issues. It was kind of strange. I was expecting all kinds of horror, and he's one of the more timid ones. Tamini actually gets out when nobody's looking more often than him, but as soon as I get near the tank, the Tamini hides. But he's right. He was right there.
Camaro Kid is asking. Yeah, of course.
There's the Tamini.
You know what? I liked Tamini tangs. I had Pamela, and I lost her when I lost all my fish a year ago. But I have another one now. It doesn't have a name yet. I can't name them until I can actually get to know them. And you can't get to know a fish that you only see once in a while top down. So when they go into the big tank, I'll have to add some names. But yeah. So Camaro Kid's wondering what light you have there.
There are 5 of the Hydra 26s over top of this.
Yeah, the AI.
Yep.
Nice.
The tank came with 4, and they had 2 from the 75-gallon that this was upgraded from. So I put 1 in here because that was all the wires that I could get through the little end there.
Yeah.
And then I put the other Hydra 26 that I had over top of the Reefer E170, which is in deep blue now. That's where I just was a minute ago, but you can't really see anything because that's in deep blue mode.
Yeah. Yeah. Marcus Aerolis was asking, I think when we were looking at this tank before you went to the 170, if if you have a micromusa in the middle of the zoanthids. Am I right there, Marcus? What about a coral crown crab? They eat zoas. Don't know what else they eat. Oh yeah, that does look like a.
Yeah, it's an acan. It's supposed to be. I think they're supposed to be. They called it the ultra.
Yeah.
And then that's a dying one that I got from Billy Pipes, actually.
Yeah.
And but my acans are not happy right now. They always did really great, but they're all just miserable right now.
Yeah.
And actually, in that pile back there, there's some green ones right next to the red and blue ones. There's some green ones that are just they're all wrapped up by those pink pallies.
Wow. And it looks like you got a bit of cyano going on there too, so maybe that's giving them some grief.
Yeah, I've been having really trouble. I mean, I've been feeding the crap out of this tank, and the nutrients have been hard to keep up with. I'm at like 2.5 nitrate, and it showed the test this morning was like 0.2 phosphate. And I mean, I'm feeding a clip of nori every day and like between 4 to 5 cubes of the San Francisco Bay mixed blends.
Phosphate 0.2 or 0.02?
0.02, yeah.
0.02, yeah. Because I was going to say 0.2 is kind of high.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to figure that out. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. Like it's one of those things that, like, do you sometimes feel like things go through cycles where they do really good for a while, and then something happens and they're not happy, and then I sometimes think if you just leave them alone, then whatever it was corrects itself and things cycle back. But if you try and jump in there and do stuff too soon or too much or whatever, you just end up making it worse. Like that's happened to me so many times. Yeah,
I really try to stay as much hands off as I can until it gets absurd. But again, I've had things. I have like this whole rock here with that ball on top of it.
Yeah.
And now I have a frag of the rainbow granulosa of it. That was all covered in Sophastria, the Comet version of it.
The meteor shower,
Yeah, the meteor shower. And the whole thing is dead now except for the bottom of it. And this has been going on for like a month. And that coral is like one of the oldest corals in this tank. And it's been through all the dumb stuff I did in the beginning and all the stuff that just happened to power outages, the auto top off, just dumping tons of fresh water in there and dropping the salinity to 1019 and and it lived through all of that. And now my water is completely stable. Everything else is doing really well except for like the LPS and the small polyp stuff the large polyp stuff seems to be doing terrible, while all my SPS is doing great and taking off. I mean, this fish of hex Millie here in the back was a frag about an inch tall for probably a year. It didn't do anything. I mean, it was the same frag for a year, and then over like the last 3 months, it turned in from that frag to that.
Wow!
And it's like this thing is growing like mad. And then the stuff that was traditionally super happy in here, like the acans, are sad.
Yeah,
they're just sad.
It looks like they're just getting engulfed by all of the zoanthids. Somebody, Marcus says, a coral clown crab eats zoanthids, but he doesn't know what else they eat. So that might be worth looking for.
Yeah, because these things are driving me crazy. They just grow and grow and grow, and they fall off. They just like fall off and fly around and grow on anything. I mean, there's some in the back here too. Like I was trying to rip them off earlier, but I mean they're growing over here in the back.
Crazy.
Right next to the Hollywood Stunner. It's like, just come on, Hollywood Stunner, kill something. Kill something.
Live up to your reputation, damn it.
Yeah. Kills. So you're not killing anything. You're not killing this Gorgonian. You're not killing the polys. You're not. I put that back there to kill stuff, and it's not killing anything.
That's hilarious.
But
I know what you mean. You do your best to do it the natural way, which is to make them go to war with each other, and they don't cooperate. Damn it!
Gonna get some of the Colexia back there and see how that does.
That would probably do it. Yeah.
But actually, no, because right there's the Colexia, and there's all the pink polys right up next to it.
Wow, that Colexia is not doing its job either.
No, I don't have its feeders out right now, but it kills a bunch of stuff. Anything, usually anything it touches, it kills.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder, I'm noticing the Asterinas. Have you taken a baster to your acans to see whether maybe some Asterinas are annoying them? What I found with that stuff is like they get in between the polyps, and then when the polyps close is when you see them. And it's not like they like people. A lot of people said I was nuts when I did my video about spaghetti worms in Mollywood and how they're just harmless, blah blah blah. No, fine, yeah, if they stay where they're supposed to stay, but if they start irritating to the corals to the point where they're not opening and they can't eat and they can't get light and they die, then they become a problem. So, I think I can see one there on the side on the skeleton. And the one, not the front.
On there for sure.
Yeah.
There's a little sponge under there. That's a little piece of sponge, I think is what you're seeing. But there's definitely permatids.
Yeah. Who knows, eh? Oh, you got a clam in there.
Actually, it's a mussel.
A mussel. I think I have a mussel.
I don't even know what it came in on. And it was just stuck to this little piece of rock one day. I'm like, what is that? It's a freaking mussel. And it was actually covered. It might have come in with the zoanthid rock that I got when I got these, because this is where it was. And I just pulled all the zoanthids and polys off of them and just stuck them back down in the sand.
Mm-hmm.
It's still alive because it was open.
It's a thing in Europe. They get these things and they put them in their tanks for filtration, like lots of them. And I have one, and it came in with a giant Yuma Recordia that I got probably 10 years ago. It was after I wasn't in the hobby very long at that point. And one day I was looking at it, and I kept noticing that the mushroom was like moving up and then moving down when fish swam by, and then moving up and moving down. And I looked underneath, and sure enough, it was moving up and down because it was on a bivalve like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't have the Recordia anymore because, of course, they always walk off their rocks. And then what do you do? But I still have that bivalve, and it still opens and closes. And that's it's got to be 10 years, 9 years anyway. So still alive.
I never knew it was there, and it was there. And then I figured I probably killed it pulling off of where it was, and nope, it was still alive.
Yep.
It moved over a little bit closer to the rock because I had it over probably an inch or two, and now it's kind of like inching its way over.
Yep. It's probably trying to find something to put its foot on.
It's pretty much almost on the glass. There's not much sand there.
Yeah.
As you can see, like the Clarkie doesn't like sand around his frog spawn. So he clears it out all the way down to the glass and piles it up everywhere. I try to push it back every now and then, and he's like, yeah, no, getting rid of that.
It's crazy. Deep Reef says, beautiful tank. What do you have in the sump?
Oh, a mess.
Join the crowd. I know how that feels.
It's a mess. I have a refugium back there that mainly has the grape caulerpa in it. It was just a mixed bag of the macroalgae that I got from the LFS, and the grape caulerpa kind of took it all over. And just a par 28 light. Little sheet there and a bunch of gunk on top of it. It's too stagnant with all the growth in there now. I got to clean that out, but we'll just cover that back up and forget about it for a minute.
So maybe that's part of what's happening. Like, because I've learned that over the years with my sumps. I remember watching a video. Remember CJ's aquariums?
Yes.
I remember watching a video where he cleaned the detritus out of his sump, and man, there was a lot of it. And I went and looked at my sump, and this was when I had the 20-gallon SPS with stony coral tank with the 15-gallon sump. It was my first ever sump tank. Mm-hmm. And man, it was pretty disgusting what was down in there. And I cleaned it, and the whole tank started to do better. So who knows? Like, maybe some of the algae here is starting to give off stuff in the water that's bothering some of the coral.
It's like, definitely that might be clogging up and doing some weird stuff.
Yeah.
But
that might be why the A-cans aren't happy. Yeah. Who knows, eh?
I think the A-cans are unhappy because of the low nutrients and all that good stuff. Because they were always, it's typically always ran 15 to 20 nitrate.
Yeah.
And, up towards the, 0.2, 0.3 nitrates. Phosphates.
Yeah.
And the LPS seem to love that. But now we're in that mixed reef world where this thing is just consuming nutrients faster than I can put them in.
Yeah.
It was at 0 phosphates for a while, and I actually bought the Neophos and dosed it a couple times to bring it up.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember before I moved the reef into the sump, I was at 0 phosphate, 0 nitrate for probably 3 weeks. And I knew I had to move the reef because I wanted to get it out of my daughter's house and under my own roof. So I did dose nitrate and phosphate because I use the elements. I can't remember who makes that line, the element N and the element P. And I think it's because it's what I could get. Because I looked around, and that's what was available. So that's what I bought. But anyway, probably for a week and a half, it took me to get the phosphate up to about 0.08 and the nitrates up to around maybe 5, between 5 and 10. Who can tell? Because you can't read the darn test. So yeah, I've dosed that too. Yeah.
I used the Salifert for the nitrate.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit easier because it gives you the top down look, which you really can't tell the difference from. But if you hold it from the side and look at it, it multiplies by 10. And
yeah, I've done that. If I can't tell whether it's 5 or 10, that's what I've done.
Because 5 and 10 on the Salifert card are, to me, the same thing.
Yeah. Well, a while ago, I had an expired test, and it was telling me I had nitrates of 50. And it was only recently expired. So I got out my Nios Nitrate Kit because Billy Pipes a couple of years ago had said, "Oh, Nios is the best. It's the best." So I thought, okay, I'll get one, but I never used it. It doesn't expire until 2022. And I took the reading, and it was half. It was 25. But the thing is, the way that thing works, you get this little holder with 2 vials, and you put 5 milliliters of water in each vial. And in one vial is where you put the reagents. You shake it up, you wait 5 minutes. Then you take the lid off, and you put both vials on top of the color card with the water that hasn't had reagents over top of the colored circles. And then all you do is you slide it along until they match. Right. So the reagent is over the white part of the card, so you can see like straight down what exact color it is compared to the other side that has all the different colors. And it has readings that are like 0, 2, 5, 12, 20 maybe, or 15. I can't remember because it's not gone up that high, but yeah. So I really liked it. So now that's the one that I use.
Yeah, I was using the Red Sea Pro before that, but takes a day and a half to do. So
like to handle low nitrate, yeah.
It's like 9 minutes later, so kind of start that one and start doing your other tests. And
Yep. And then you forget because you've been doing your other tests. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm like, Alexa, set a timer for 10 minutes. Oh, I just
Yep.
said that, so she's going to do it.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Mr. DKH. Welcome.
Let's see if I can
Yeah.
flip this camera back.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? It's always something with a reef tank. You just don't know.
Yeah, it's been one of those things where I kind of got into it by accident, and then it became an addiction. And I had mostly freshwater tanks, where I had probably eight or nine freshwater tanks at one point.
Yeah.
And I figured I'll change one over.
Yeah, we had 9 freshwater tanks at one point. I don't know, somebody getting some feedback on my voice. And the saltwater thing just happened by accident with a friend who had a tank that their daughter had in university, and nobody was looking after it. We were over there one day, and we had bought a 125 from them. And they said, hey, do you want this tank? Because we're not looking after it. And I thought, perfect.
Yeah, and then it's there goes your retirement plan.
Yeah. Marcus Aerolus says, I've heard but never kept Caulerpa. That is, that it can be toxic to corals. I think if it goes sexual, like it gets to be like a white color and it releases a whole bunch of stuff into the water. Oh, we got Hector over here. I'll bring Hector in. Hey, Hector.
Hello.
Hello. This time my streaming thing, I figured it out. It was Ryan that I ended up talking over at the beginning.
How you doing, Poppy? How you doing, Ryan?
Hey, Hector, how are you?
Hey, how you doing?
Good, good.
Good.
So you've been messing around with your tanks in the last week or so, Hector.
Yes. It's like I got this tanks on wheels.
Yep.
I'll be moving them everywhere.
Yep. Well, here I'll pop you up full screen and you can take us on a little tour, because I think this is a new aquascape for this tank, right?
No, it's still the same. I just added the big Argonian and the.
Oh yeah, I can see now. So this is the 40 breeder that you turned into a peninsula.
Yes. Yeah. Like I've been saying lately, I needed to do some adjustment in my life, and I did. So, ended up moving from where I was. Now I'm at Reefgrrl house.
Yeah.
A lot of people are asking, who's Reefgrrl? Who's Reefgrrl? I'm not gonna say yet, but yeah, I'm at Reefgrrl house, and everything's good. Everything good. The move went smooth.
Mm-hmm.
Minor losses, things happen when you move a whole system. So
yeah,
I did lose chalice, couple coral got stung by others. Lost my last sexy train. I haven't seen him, so haven't seen that little guy. But for the most part, everything made it. I mean, the whole reef is back together with no problem. I was working on the lights today because I had them real super high until I had everything set up, and I was thinking to leave it like that, but then I said, nah, it was like 5 feet away from the tank. So that wasn't gonna work.
It looks good.
Thank you. Yeah, I gotta lower the lights. I was messing around a little bit in there. But yeah, everything went smooth in the move, so things seems to like here, I guess, because the pH being stable, everything being just flawless here.
Good.
Yeah. And like I always said, big things are coming because here I can do pretty much everything
Wow.
as long as I don't destroy the house.
Yeah.
And already before I left the first time, I left a hole in the floor. So
Yeah.
I think that hole is gonna be reused again.
Well, when we sold our other house, of course, we drilled through the closet to put the pipes down for the water changes and everything, right?
Yeah.
And so my husband covered up the holes with duct tape, and then he replaced the small piece of the floor in the closet. And like he did a really good job cutting that patch, but we didn't change anything from downstairs. So from downstairs, you could still look up and see the duct tape over top of the holes. But from upstairs, it's all covered up with carpet and everything, right? But yeah. Cool. Those gorgonians look amazing. The one on the
Yeah.
right, that's not a Group's gorgonian, is it? The one on the right? The
Don't
yellow,
know,
the
but
orangey
it's
one?
yes, it's two of them in there. I got the
Yeah.
purple one and kind of like I mean the story looked kind of like a green, like a lime green, and now today look like a yellowish
Huh.
orangey, like you say. So I just glued them both together.
Hmm.
I went yesterday to the aqua just to get coral food, and I couldn't pass on them. It was for $20, big,
Oh my
really
God.
big pieces. So yeah, I got
$20.
three. Yeah, yeah, $20 each. I got three of them. I got another one, and this one on the also on the left of me, right of you guys, I think.
Oh yeah, yeah, I
And
see. Well, that's
this one right here.
the corky sea finger on the right? Like
Yeah.
that's the one that I have in Mollywood that grows so well. You know, I'm putting that thing in the new tank, and I want to put it on the bottom, and I want it to grow like 18 inches tall and just be all over the place. That thing
Yes.
grows so nice.
Yes, and they grow. Yeah, they grow really, really big.
Yep.
Yeah, that one started branching out already. When I
Yep.
got it with just one
Hmm.
finger, now it's like a couple, like 3, 4 fingers.
Yeah, and they're just so beautiful. The polyps
Mm-hmm.
on mine are you can kind of tell when there's something up with the water because they don't open fully and whatever. But boy, when it's happy,
Yeah,
I swear those branches are an inch and a half across from one side to the other with the polyps. Just amazing.
I've never had one. I didn't even know you could buy anything for $20 in this hobby anymore.
true. No, this place it's a new place I've been going lately, and the prices are decent compared to the other place I go where I'm at. When it comes to like large pieces, they had a crazy 3-piece Fungia plate. So instead of being one single one, it's three of them in a one. The
Ooh,
guy didn't want to sell it.
oh boy.
I try, but beautiful, beautiful
I've been giving
pieces.
most of my stuff away. I give it to friends and, say, hey, bank this.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll trade something with me and say, here, you bank this. And so when we nuke our tanks, we can still get our stuff back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So Hector, you've managed to make whatever changes you need to keep your yellow tang,
Um,
right?
so far, yeah, he's getting big.
Yeah.
So far, I mean, I know he needs a bigger tank, and I did purchase a bigger tank in the move. So I got because last time I moved the tank, I had like no lie, like 10 bins with everything in it, and everything with a heater, everything with a power head, just try to keep everything alive. So
Yeah.
this time I didn't want to go through that headache. I say, you know what? Let me stop at Petco, see what they got for sales, and they had 50% off. So I grabbed a 75, and it was a bad move because I did it on the 4th of July.
Oh boy.
I didn't have no choice.
You don't fool
So,
around.
no, and I had to get it done. So I started early in the morning. Early in the morning, I did the DNT. I did the smaller tank, the 20 gallons. So I did that one and disconnected the light from this one, and I left the filtration and the tank just over there. But the first trip went smooth. I found parking in front of the house. Everything was good. The second trip, like, I don't know where all these people came to that street, but everybody decided to park exactly by the house.
Oh,
So I had to park 6 houses down.
wow.
So since it was a little personal situation going on, I didn't want help from nobody. I did it all on my own. And so it was like 6 houses down, me walking with buckets from the house to the van. I did a couple trips, but then the fireworks and all that. Once I came back and dropped whatever I grabbed in the second trip, with the fireworks going on, then the exit going towards the house. They doing construction, so they blocked that exit. It was a mess. It was a mess. I had to
Oh
wait till
man.
Monday to move the bigger tank. But I did it in 2 hours. I did it in 2 hours because I already had the 75 over here set up, everything running. So believe it or not, the smaller tank was harder than the 40. It was
Yeah.
more hard because everything in the 40 is glued to the rocks. So I could just
Wow.
grab the whole piece, put it on in a bin, and
Yep.
it's a little bit easier. And I also couldn't help it. I grabbed a new fish. I couldn't help myself.
Okay.
I know they say they nip at coral, but I don't care. He can eat all the corals he wants.
Oh, you got the cherub angel. The
Yeah,
cherub pygmy angel.
the pick me and yes, yeah, he's somewhere in there.
Yeah. And has he nipped at anything yet that you've seen?
No, I seen him nipping at Sayano, but he could nip all he wants. Sayano in the sand, but no, so far so good.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well, you never know because just like you can get some that are jerks, you can also get some that are really not jerks.
yeah, like
So,
exactly
you
like the
know,
flame angels. Yeah, exactly like flame angels.
yeah.
Yeah, so far he's been just a great little guy doing, I guess, what an angelfish does, going in and out of the rocks. Nice attitude. I like him. He got,
Yeah.
like I say, he want to eat some corals. He got plenty in there he could eat. I don't care. I really don't. I really don't.
Yeah, well, sometimes you got to make sacrifices, right?
Yeah. Because it's not fair for us as reefers that we want to keep certain species or certain specimen, and we can't
Yeah.
because either is gonna eat some corals or
Yeah, yeah,
uh, you're scared the anemone's gonna eat it or no.
yeah,
I couldn't help them. I went to get that fish one time. They had like four in that place where I went just this last time, and they all looked like skinny. They didn't look good, so I passed on it. This time I couldn't pass on this one. It just got there. I think they just opened the bag and dumped it in the tank. I said, no, put it back in the bag. I'll take it.
yeah.
So,
Well, hopefully he turns out to be the one cherub pygmy angel that only likes the food you give him.
yeah. He eats planets. He eats flakes. He eats brine shrimp. So
Nice.
far, so good. Look at him right there.
Cool. How's the clownfish doing? This is so I guess the female that was getting really, really skinny, she passed away.
Yeah, she did
Yeah.
pass away, and the male, it turned to a female now since I got the other one. But I think I do have a clownfish sickness in the tank.
Oh.
Cause now these two are sick.
Oh dear.
Yeah, they get the fungus in the skin.
Yeah.
So the new one has that fungus in the skin, and the female now, oh well, the male now female has Popeye.
Oh geez.
So yeah. I just noticed that before I even went in the live. So I got a 10-gallon tank. I didn't want to do it this way, but I'm gonna have to because it's only with clowns that they getting sick in this tank. So
Yeah.
the rest of the fish look good. No signs of nothing, just in clownfish. So it has to do with the clowns.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna remove all three of them. This two and the one and the 40, and treat all three at the same time and just see what happens.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you really don't have anything to lose because if they just keep getting sicker and sicker, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
Well, Taryn is asking if it's Brooklynella that they have.
Don't know. Haven't do no research yet on what I'm seeing with my eyes on them. So
Yeah.
first, I know it was in the internal parasite because I know the fish that brought it in, um, and the way they're skinny and they eat, but they don't get no weight.
Yeah.
So, but now that little fungal in the skin now is something
Mhm.
else that
Yeah.
I didn't see before. So.
Yeah, my one Molly, I think I showed a video a little while ago, but I don't know how clear it was. It's a black and white one. It's one of the ones that I bred. It has, well, I call it my bounce Molly.
Yeah, the
The
bubble
bounce
molly.
Molly. You should
Yeah.
see the size of that thing now. I bet you it's half an inch across, and it's orange, and all it is a big bubble, and it's full of liquid, and the fish is fine. It swims around with this stupid bubble. And it reminds me of like those goldfish that have those
Hmm.
bubble eyes. It's like that, only it's kind of behind. How can I put this? It's above the gill, behind where the eye is, but like at
Hmm.
near the top of his head. So he moves around too fast. I can't. Actually, it's a she. I can't really take a close look. So I've been trying to get some better video so I can zoom in and see if I can figure out what's going on. I mean, the fish eats, it's active, it's not
Hmm.
swimming strangely or anything like that. Yeah. Yeah, Marcus Aurelus, skinny fish, something internal.
Yeah.
Nano
Yeah.
Joe, yeah, you got that right. Wish I could eat and not gain weight. Yeah, be careful what you wish for because
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's sad. I mean, I this time I'm gonna take action. I mean, I had this clown 8 years now,
Yep.
the huge one right there. So the other two are more new to the system. So I don't want to wait.
No.
Not like I did last time. I waited too long and the female passed. So no, the other passed. Not this time. I'm gonna do whatever's in my power to get the back to shape.
Yeah. Yeah, well, like I said, you really have nothing to lose because if it's just going to deteriorate, you might as well stop that train if you can.
Yep, yep.
Cool. What have you got crawling on the left-hand side? Is it a conch snail or a crab? On the left side, right near the orange.
Holy cow! Now that you said that, I was supposed to have 3 corn that I bought and I left them at the store.
Uh-oh.
I just
They're,
read. Oh my god!
they're going to be mad at you. All the crabs are coming out right now. Look, there's 2 in the front.
Yeah.
3
Yeah,
in the
they're cruising
front.
around pretty good. They're cruising.
Jeepers, they just came out. This is hilarious. Because I didn't see anything moving on the sand until I saw that crab come down the side, and then all of a sudden they're like all over the front.
Yeah, I shut the flow so I could feed the mandarin, and they know
They
it's
probably
full
think,
time.
yeah, I was just gonna say they think they're gonna get fed because the flow went off. You
Mhm.
can't tell me they're not like they're not stupid. Those animals.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
size tank is this? Hector Fletcher Wright is asking. Is this like a
It's
13?
no, this one is a 20. I think it's a 21 gallons.
Yeah.
This is the one Kenny gave me. Straight reefer.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, this one comes with a inner overflow. I just took it out and drilled the back of the tank.
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know if it's Marineland or Deep Blue that make this tank.
Mm-hmm.
So
Geez,
old
there's a shrimp.
style.
There's a shrimp out there too, Hector. Look at him,
Two peppermints.
waiting for food. Oh my goodness.
Your peppermints come out with the lights on.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine do if there are food. Oh, we just lost Ryan. Hey, Ryan. I don't know if your phone ran out of juice, but
The only time I see my peppermints is when I come out before work and it's pitch black. You can see the things skirting around here and
You know
there.
what Reefgrrl just made me realize now? That I left the 3 conch snail at the store. Remember the 3 snails that we won the first tank? That I told the guy, give me this 3. I left them. I never got them. Sorry.
no, that's okay.
Oh
I was
my
going to say,
God. I'm going
is
back
this-
tomorrow.
hopefully you didn't take the bus and leave them on the bus or the subway.
No, because he gave me this big bag. The 2 gorgonas and the leave, and they're not in the car. So,
Oh,
yeah.
Marcus Aurelius, does your other clown have anything on it? How long has it had it?
I just saw it today. I did notice this is the new one, right here. So
Yeah.
I just noticed this one yesterday, the white marking, but then they went away, so I didn't think nothing of it. And just now, I mean, I've been messing around with the system for the this week. I didn't do much. I just was just making sure it was no leaks and the tank running. Okay, so I wasn't paying attention to no coral, no fish. I don't know if it's probably stress after moving the tank,
Yeah.
but I just noted the white markings yesterday. And then this one, it just had that right eye, left eye. There's a little bit of like an air bubble on it. Yeah, I realized that today. Yeah, today. Not too long ago.
Wow.
My conch snail.
Nano Joe has you figured out. Nano Joe says, I think Hector left them there on purpose just to make another excuse trip to the LFS. You ain't fooling anyone.
No. I grabbed everything I needed. I went to get Reefgrrl, the 80 plus, and not Gorgonians, but I ended up coming with Gorgonians. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Ryan, he had to leave because it's 3 a.m. in the UK. So good for him for
Wow.
sticking around for so late. And plus his phone needed charging, but he's going to come back for the global live stream, which will be cool because it'll be daytime and we can see his new coral. And Ryan, the global is going to be on the last Sunday of July, which I think is maybe the 24th. And it's weird because there's actually a Saturday in July after that, the 31st. So the last Sunday in July is actually in the 20s. So just mentioning that in case anybody is thinking of picking it up on Sunday afternoon when we do the 1 p.m. international stream so we can catch lots of time zones with the lights on.
I know, right?
Yeah, so this is the DNT tank, right?
The DNT. Yeah.
Yep, it's looking good. And that green, that's a leather coral on the left, kind of near the top.
Yep.
That thing is really nice.
Yeah. Thank you.
Is that a Cellularia?
Yep. Yeah, this is the one that I had kept alive long enough. Like, I don't know, for some reason, the ones that I grabbed in the past, they died on me. So this one so far is the guy that I got it from. He says they do good. So I mean, I don't know. I've been trying to keep everything as stable as possible, and it's doing good this time. So
Cool.
hopefully I
I
can
had
give
one
it a
for a
live
couple
long
of
enough.
years.
What happened?
I had one for a couple of years, and then it
Yeah.
just laid down and melted away. It just
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
it was
that's what happened
beautiful.
with
It was like
hmm
it was like 10 inches taller or so, and then it just kind of laid
Wow.
down. It was weird. It just laid down and slowly over probably 6 weeks just melted away.
Yeah, that been happening to my zoas, you know. So they do good for a year or so, and then they just disappear for no reason. They just start receding back, and then one or two polyps come back, and then they just come back nicely, and then they just. So that's why my blue hornets, I don't even look at those. They doing
Oh
good.
no.
Stay back there.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
if that happened to those, that's it. I'm taking all the zoas out of the tank. And I'm
So
done with.
hey, Hector, Nano Joe is asking about the DNT tank. So can you tell us the story of setting up the DNT tank? It's a tribute
So
tank, right?
yes, it's a tank. It started as a. I think I named the DNT with a 7.5 gallon. It was a dedication tank to Dave Nano Tanks. So I don't know if any of you guys know Dave. That's one of the first guys that I started watching to learn how to reef, do reefing, and I got a lot of good advice from the guy. Great guy. His videos was always informative. No drama, no nothing don't have to do with reefing. Everything was about reefing.
There's the Mandarin.
And it was sad not to see his videos no more or his
Yeah.
live. He started doing a lot of live at the end.
Mhm.
So I felt like doing a tank for him. So I had a couple corals. I still have a couple corals in this tank. The didn't came from him, but they similar to the one that he had on the nano tank.
Yeah.
The green star polyps, some yellow. I think they call nuclear polys. I got them in the back. Those, and also he was good friend with Billy Pipes, and I also got a couple corals from Billy Pipes that I got here. So the neon green candy cane.
Mhm.
So everything comes or in dedication from the same. And I'm keeping this tank for a long time.
Yeah.
A lot of people tell me, oh, why you don't do a bigger tank and put no, it's gonna stay there.
That's not the point, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would also love have one system, but no, I'm thinking to separate the system now. So just keep it its own system and try to get like I say, same other corals he had in that tank,
Yeah.
and maybe in the future try to duplicate the videos that he did on that tank.
Yeah. And plus, he had a really cool refugium with a lot of macroalgae in it that was really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, try to relive and redo a lot of things that he did with that tank.
Yeah. Yeah. Nano Joe said, "Oh my God, that's really cool. I was friends with Dave. Real cool guy. I do miss him. Yep. I miss him every day."
Yeah,
And
he did.
if you go back and watch his videos, like there's one where he's building a tank stand. And I remember when he first put out that video and I was watching it, he was smoking a cigarette. And through the whole video, I was waiting for the ash to fall off that cigarette. And it was just hilarious. It was, yeah.
Yeah. We miss the guy a lot.
Yeah.
Ever since you know what happened to him, everything changed for us that we all met up at the same time.
Yeah.
During his life, everything after that was drama and
Yeah.
nothing to do with reefing.
Yeah.
It was more
different.
about people getting in people's life, and no,
Oh,
that's not what this is about.
Nope.
We are here because of a glass box full of fish and corals.
Yeah. And you know, we have a lot to share with each other, and
Yeah, yeah.
sometimes we, with all the drama and stuff, like sometimes that goes into the background, and the whole point of all of this is like the stuff, like I love looking at this, and I love seeing Sean's tank, and it's Sean, right? I remember who you are. And like really, the opportunity to see what other people have in their house that they look after every day the same way that I look after my thing every day, right? Like it's such a shared experience, but we do it alone.
Yeah,
And this is
exactly.
how we can interact and share, right? So
And learn from each other. Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of
Yep.
people is out there scared to ask questions.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
because
know,
of getting
and there's
ridiculed.
no
And
dumb questions out there. There's no,
no.
because I still, where I'm at right now in my reefing journey, learning, I still have lots of questions.
Yeah.
And for some people that are more advanced,
Yeah.
some people are think, oh, that's a dumb question, but not for me. I don't know.
Yeah, the only place
Like what I learned with the phosphate reactor not too long ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
The purpose of the reactor. You know, like I didn't know that. Now I know.
The only place I've run into that is really forums, like on the online forums where you ask a question and then everybody dumps on you because you didn't read the 500 pages of thread about that question, where 98% of it is people arguing with each other and calling each other names. So you're supposed to read through that and glean what you want to know. It didn't take too many encounters like that for me to say, you know what, screw this. I got better things to do with my time. And so that's why I don't really participate in forums at all. I'm always on edge because I don't know who's going to say what, you know?
Yeah.
I still go to Club Milev's Reef because that's a no criticism zone.
Oh, he's
if
a
you
great
criticize,
guy. Yeah.
If you criticize there, you get booted. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Nano Joe said he ran into drama, and that's partly why he stopped making videos, because that's where he ended up.
Yeah. It just get your
excuse me.
I don't know. It just gets you off, you know, and you don't want to do this no more or participate no more.
Yep.
So
man, I drove my LFS guy crazy when I started this hobby because I asked every stupid question in the book and bugged him like crazy. But then he took the time to spend with me and answer all my stupid questions. So he ended up getting basically a $400 a month customer.
Of course.
Look at that.
Yeah.
I still go there today. We go up and we're good friends now, and you go up and you take him some beer and you get better deals on his stuff.
Yeah, Marcus Aurelus says, like my little cousin I just set up, I get like 100 questions a day from him. Yeah. Yeah. And Multiple Aquariums is saying that one is very beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
So I think he means the tank. Yeah. It is, it just, you know what it is? It's serene. And it's because you have fish in there, but you don't have a lot of fish. They've all kind of got their own little paths that they travel through the tank. I just saw the mandarin out front picking around.
Yeah. I got 12 fishes in there. I got a Cesar bacillus that just come out, eat, and then go hiding.
Yeah.
He never comes out throughout the whole day. Sometimes I think he's dead. He only comes out to eat.
Yeah. What
that's my Watchman Goby. I only see my Watchman Goby like once a week.
Oh my God. That just reminded me. I put 2 blennies in my system about a month and a half ago when the algae started getting really bad. A big one in the 150 and a little tiny one in the 100. And I didn't see them after that. And I thought, oh, great. So every once in a while, I would take the lid off of the final 100 because that's the return chamber, and there's all kinds of rocks in there. And I think the blenny was small enough he could have got in the hole in the strainer that leads to that tank through the pipe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So guess what? The other day I was putting a baster of food down for the Aurora goby, who lives and is still alive, which I was thrilled to realize about 2 weeks ago. And the blenny was sitting on top of the power head. So I have at least one blenny. So I'm hopeful that the other blenny is still alive in the other tank, but of course I just never see it because I can't look in the side.
Yeah.
And so they have to be out in the open, right? So yeah, I'm super thrilled about that.
Nice.
I lost my Hippo Tang when he was in he or she was in the 75-gallon tank that I had before this for like a week. I'm like, I figured it jumped, it died, the cat ate it, whatever. And it was actually in the overflow.
Oh boy.
Oh, wow.
And I had to get it out. And of course, nothing fit down into that corner overflow. So
Yep.
I reached down there with my hand and grabbed it, and it cut me. And
really? Oh.
My finger blew up, turned
boy.
black, the skin peeled off of it. It was like,
Oh, wow.
I was like, next time I'm leaving you in there.
Yeah, that's one reason my new tank, even though there's a Euro brace, and there's teeth at the back for the overflow, I had to make me a cover for the overflow.
Yeah.
Because
not a bad idea.
Yeah. Yeah, Johnny Martinez says, I know exactly what you're saying. I just love looking at all the tanks on your stream because we may not have corals in the future in our oceans.
Yeah.
That's a pretty scary thought, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And Multiple Aquariums said, I love the tree and the clown underneath it. It's so cool. I love that coral. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people always talk about that coral.
It's a hammer, right?
Yeah. Branching hammer.
See, I'm getting all kinds of
trying to do the same thing with this one here.
Yeah. I'm getting inspiration from you. I'm getting inspiration from you because I want tree hammers in my tank.
Yeah.
And so what do you do? Like, would you trim off heads, like frag off heads at the bottom?
Well, wherever I find a spot that's not gonna mess up the look that much.
Okay. Yeah.
So, but it grows fast. This one, I remember when I got it, maybe, do you remember when I got the hammer? The tree little one, when we went to Southington, OPEC Club.
Oh, that was 2016?
2016?
Wow.
Yeah, so 2016. I fragged this thing already like 7 times.
Mm-hmm.
It was 4 heads when I got it. So when it's happy, it's happy, and when it's happy, they just start growing like crazy.
Cool. Oh, there's the angelfish. And I really like the frog spawn, or is it a hammer? The green with the purple tips.
Yeah,
that's exactly like one
spawn.
that I had. Yep. And mine died in the stagnant water crash, and it had like 20 or 25 heads.
Wow.
And it grew from, I think it had 11 heads when I moved it in there from my 20-gallon nano stony coral tank into the Red Sea tank. And where I put it on the rocks, it probably took 6 months to do anything. And then all of a sudden it just took off.
It's exploding, yeah.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, this is the only Euphilia so far that I like the most.
Yeah, the hammers. Yeah.
Yeah, hammers and frog spawn or the octa spawn. Oh, I love those.
Yeah.
They got nice. I like the grow pattern and the polyps, the way they look.
Mm-hmm. There's a guy on Instagram. He's called Unorthodox Reef. I think he's from Ottawa area in Canada. And he had a torch spawn in his tank.
Wow.
And he had pictures on of 2 of the different babies. And they're different colors. They're not the
nice.
same as the original colony, and one of them has got like kind of pinkish tentacles with yellow tips.
Oh well.
Totally, really, really cool.
Yeah. That's happening to Danny Kung Fu Corals. I don't know if you've seen him on Instagram.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But yeah, his torch is being spun in his tank. He got babies, a bunch of babies he got now.
Wow.
So that's cool to see. You know, that means that our water is gold, golden right now.
Yeah. Oh
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Funny.
Something
That's
about
golden
it.
water what he got. Why you doing? You gotta share some of that knowledge over here.
Yeah.
To get
That's
corals
part of the.
spawning.
That's a nice coral, but man, I don't want to pay that much money for one.
Yeah, me either. Me either. They have some nice ones that place for like $100, $150. Then you get to the gold one, 300, 400. But nah, I will never pay that much for a coral. Never, ever, ever in my life.
Yeah.
The most
Oh.
I have spent on a coral, I think it was $150, and I was hurt. I was hurt. It's one of my 8 cans because it was a nice size. So I said, you know what, it's more than 20 hits in the year, so I don't mind.
Yeah. Pappy Reefer, Fletcher Wright is wondering, it was your tank, he was wondering what size that is. It's a 650?
Yes,
the Red
it's the
Sea
Reefer 650.
650, so
Yep.
that's 160 gallons-ish?
Ish. I think the tank itself is about is like 145, and then they call it 175.
Right, yeah.
But they're including the sump at 30 gallons. So
Yeah. Oh,
the
hey,
whole
Straight
system is
Reefer.
supposed to be 175.
Right. Straight Reefer and Dromedy are here. Lovely.
Kenny Dramedy. When I
Hey,
do the
Heck.
stream, they be loving the way I do. I introduce them in the stream.
Hey, Hector, Multiple Aquariums wants to feature your aquarium on his website with your permission if you can work something out.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So
No problem.
how can he get in touch with you? You want me to send him your email?
Yes, definitely.
Because I already have his email because I owe him an email from like a couple months ago. So all right,
you can send them the Caliso's Reefing email. Yeah.
Okay. Yep, we'll do. Yeah, Nano
Thank
Joe
you.
said
Appreciate
yeah, it's worthy. Like both tanks are so yeah. Some of the coral prices are just insane. I was walking around Palooza and almost being mind boggled by prices. Yeah.
Yeah. I think is also us. It's our fault too.
Oh, it is.
We cannot blame the vendors, you know, because if somebody go out there and pay the $400 for something, and then the next vendor sees this other guy, or he put the price and another person buy it, that's the price now of the coral.
Or like Ryan, who was on earlier, SPS Reefer, he drove for 2.5 hours to a fish store because the guy said he had a Walt Disney frag, and he sent him a picture and it looked right, and he got there and it wasn't.
Wow.
So I don't know, he didn't mention a price, but I mean, we know those things are pricey. So yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
Oh, hey,
2.5 hours.
Shimka. Yeah. Reefgrrl, just seeing your tank on the video. Nice. Oh, cool. Yeah, that's my video about the structural changes we had to build into our house. Yep, because I show pictures of the tank right at the end. Cool. Shimka, welcome. Yeah, it is crazy. And I mean, the way my LFS works is he gets a shipment in and he looks at what the shipper charged him for it. He figures out what his freight is, and then he puts his retail markup on it. So if he gets sent a Cinerina, like the beautiful purple one that I have, that I got from him, and the shipper charged him $100 for it, and the freight part of it is $18 because it was in with a bunch of other things, then he'll make it, like he'll double it. So that's $118. So we put his retail markup on it. So that's $235, let's say. He doesn't go, oh my God, this is crazy. I've never seen anything like this before. It's going to be $1,000. So, because he's shown me pictures of corals, and I've said, okay, like how much, I'm really interested. And he says, well, let me see, what the price is going to have to be. So, like, he doesn't just slap really crazy prices on things.
Yeah.
That's not to say if he got something that was astonishing, he wouldn't put a high price on it, because he might.
Yeah.
But the number of times I've got corals from him where it's, well, he has to check and see what he was charged for it before he can put a price on it. Like, it's just not crazy, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, Marcus Aurelius, they just keep going up. Had the pandemic, then there's a ton more people in the hobby willing to buy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember getting a pink frog spawn. This is Marcus Aurelius for like $20 now, 100. Oh yeah, exactly. My button scully that has been featured in a lot of my videos because I love the thing. And when we were talking earlier about deceptive photographs, I was going to talk about that. But since we're talking about pricing, it was magenta, like a purpley magenta color in the picture on the website. And it was $45. Wow. And that was in 2015. And I bought it because I wanted that color. I didn't know exactly what I was getting into, but I bought it because it was a scully. I like scullies. It was $45 and not $100. And when I got it, it was orange. And the thing that killed me about it is that it was beautiful. It didn't need to be made to look magenta to be beautiful.
Yeah.
I spent 2 days with my AI Prime changing the settings so that I could try and get it to look magenta. Because I thought, okay, if it's they always go, well, you're a different lighting, right? Under our lighting.
Yeah.
Which I know now is a bunch of BS, but I mean, I know then.
Yeah.
And,
lighting and filters.
On the Reef, never on them.
Yeah. So now that scully was in the corner of Mollywood when it was at my daughter's house. It was not doing well. There wasn't enough light or flow. It was just in a stupid spot. As soon as I could, I got it out of there and put it back in the other tank. And then I brought it here as soon as I could. Well, now it's 3 inches across. It's the most gorgeous, vivid orange with yellow bumpy stripes. And when Nick was here last week to look at the plumbing, fish store guy, he noticed it right away, and he said it's now a $3,000 coral because you can't get them anymore. And I just thought, like, how does it go from being $45 5-6 years ago? It's got to be that people are just crazy with the money they're spending. Like, I mean, it's gorgeous, but would I pay $3,000? Never. I probably wouldn't even pay $300 for it.
Yeah. I've been in a couple of live sales where you see people paying $1,200 for a toy coral. $1,200. So for what?
Yeah.
You imagine you spend those $1,200, that coral get to you, and they die in the next week.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on.
Oh, Dramadius said,
at the level we are, we still got corals that die for no freaking reason.
I know, exactly.
So imagine you get it, you spend something, and you think you can keep it alive, and it just die.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, Multiple Aquarium says, yeah. So I'll send your email, Hector, over to him.
Okay.
Andromeda says October Aussie is shutting down by now while prices are affordable. Nano Joe says zoanthid prices make me mad sometimes. Yeah. And then if Aussie is shutting down, watch for Scully and Euphilia prices again.
That's zoanthid is one of the corals is like you buy a pile, 2 piles, $30-$40, and then when you have a full colony and you try to sell some back, nope. People don't want to get them. They don't want to buy them for that price.
Because guess what? Everybody's doing it.
A frag, not a pile, a frag. But they go to
that's like these.
spend...
Yeah.
Go ahead.
these pink polys that I have, there was the same thing. It was $35 for 3 polyps, and like I can't kill them fast enough. I'm like, why did I pay that much money for these?
You've got a college fund in pink pallies.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I won't sell them to anybody because they just take over things, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm not going to put that on somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know...
And if somebody walked up to me and told me I had a coral that was worth $3,000, I'd be like, thank you, come again.
Is that going to put food in my fridge?
It's crazy, right? Yeah.
Bring it on.
I know.
You're going to put gas in my car? Bring it on.
Yep. Yeah, but I love those big polyps, the solitary ones, and they can't be propagated, and that's probably part of it, because it's not like you can take it and I have seen people who have cut scolies in half.
Try them, yeah.
And it takes probably 3 years for them to get round again.
Yeah.
So that's not exactly...
I did saw a video of somebody doing that.
Yeah.
I forgot who. I don't know if it was Jake Adam that did a video on the guy, or it was somebody that did the video on the guy, and he fracked scolies and stuff like that.
Yeah. But I just love them. And those cinerinas, man, they're just so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And trachees, that's true. They're going to be crazy. Oh, and I'm going to pass this information on to my local fish store, but I had an email from a guy in Indonesia. It wasn't an email. It was a comment on one of my videos, and I had to translate it. And he wants to start shipping coral, but he doesn't know how to do it. So I'm thinking I'll let my fish store guy know, and he can deal with them, because he ships direct from there, or orders direct from distributors.
You can give him my address.
Yeah, okay. But the thing is the paperwork, right? Like the paperwork to get the stuff into the country.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, but my question was, cool, is Indonesia actually open again? Like, is it legal? I don't know. Like, I don't know what the answer to that is. I'm just wondering.
I think some part is, because if we still getting all those corals from over there, people are keep selling. I mean, don't torches come from over there?
They also come from Malaysia. Some from Malaysia, but not as colorful. Straight Reefer says, be careful, some of them be scams. Most of them be scams. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, watch out for another Rip Van Winkle move. I don't know what the whole story was with that. I only gathered...
about to say, that's the guy that I had in my head.
Yeah. I remember that name from way back. Yeah. That's like almost an OG name.
Who said that? I can see the shot. Who said that?
That was Drama. Drama
D. Oh man, Drama.
Yeah.
I was looking at some old pictures earlier. I was with John Silva today. He was the one that came with the par meter. And and I was looking at some pictures that I saved from when the big drama happened. So I saved them and I saw his name. I said, that's the guy's name. Jesus Christ.
Yep. There's a lot of them.
It was a scammer. Just for those that don't know, it was a scammer. Came through the live and trying to scam people. Yeah,
he said he was in the Philippines.
Yeah.
That's what I remember from him. Do you think he was really there?
I think so, because he did send videos when we had the private chat. He did send videos from the house and the tanks he had running. It looked like the Caribbean, so somewhere over there. Maybe not the Philippines. Probably was in Puerto Rico, for what I know.
Maybe it was a green
making it
screen.
look like the Philippines. Yeah, maybe. Maybe, because he was good with computers.
Wow.
But it was crazy. If one day I get to share the story, it was a crazy story. You guys be like, wow, all that was going on behind the scenes? Yep. This guy came out with some story that you'd be like, what the heck is going on in this guy's life? Crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, one of these days when the borders open, when we can meet up somewhere, I want to hear all these stories because I am female. I do like to hear about the drama. I just don't want to be involved in it, right?
Yeah, definitely. No, I still can't wait to see a couple guys face to face to see.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get back to the frag swaps.
I know. And I found out the Niagara Coral Show, which is I was hoping there'd be one this year because I still have a toadstool frag for Sharbuckle's Reef, and I have a Pectinia frag for a lady I met at a couple of coral shows in a row. Her name's Kathy, and I have one of my Space Invaders for her. But with the pandemic, we're going to meet up at the Niagara Coral Show, and it never happened. And it's not till 2022 now in May.
Wow.
So
well, you'll have colonies for them then.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I have hers. Hers is probably 3 inches across now. Wow. And it was just a little, like it was the size of a quarter. But I knew it had like 3 eyes on it, which is why I kept it. Because it came from an interior spot that had a good skeleton under it. So I knew that it would spread out and grow more. And so it's doing really well. I have 3 frags left, and I'm only going to use 1 in the tank. And then hers, and then there'll be another one that's about 3.5 inches across. Yeah.
Yeah, well, when you get that tank and you realize what you got to put in it to fill the space, it's like, oh, sorry about that.
Yeah. But you know what? I thought that about the Red Sea tank. I thought, well, I'm never going to fill this up. And oh boy, was I wrong. It took exactly 18 months. Yeah. Wow.
And that was
crazy, man.
Packed.
It was ridiculous.
It was packed, yeah. You
go by the rule.
The corals grow.
You know what? As obvious as it sounds, you're 100% right. Yeah. We think, oh yeah, this is going to grow, and then it's like, oh geez, I wish this would stop growing.
Yeah. Yep. Once we see it growing, when are you gonna stop growing? Can you stop right there so I can put another coral there?
Yeah, or can you stop growing so that this other one beside you can maybe grow? Yeah. Or you put them in a rainbow of colors along an arch, and then like number 2 and number 6 die, and then you can't find the colors to replace it. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, I kind of went crazy with the purple colors because purple's like my favorite color. So I got the purple stylo, the rainbow granulosa. And then everything that I put in between in them died. So now I have all this purple. And then when the lights go to blue, it looks like live rock. Purple don't glow in the blue lights.
I gotta read you guys.
You gotta love them. Purple stylos is one of the most. For me, it's a beautiful, beautiful piece.
It is beautiful.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It looks great during the white light, during the day.
Yeah, that's one that I'm going to be looking for.
Mm-hmm.
I got to read you guys something that's going on in the chat. Nano Joe says, I miss reefer meetups. Billy always set those up, Billy Pipes.
Yep.
I've been thinking about trying to get a meetup going for local reefers in my state. And then Chimp the Reefer says, had one 2 weeks ago, Joe, LOL. And Nano Joe goes, what? Where? And Chimp the Reefer goes, Reefapalooza. And Nano Joe says, wow, LOL, got me, Chimp. That's funny.
I know.
That was a big
meetup. I missed it too, and I was an hour away from there.
Yeah.
But not anymore. I will miss no show next year. I'm planning, if they all gonna happen next year, well, I'm going to Magna, to Coachella.
Nice.
To Palooza.
Cool.
And whatever is in between those.
I've never been to the big shows. I like the little local ones. We have one out in Williamsport, which is like 2 hours from here, but that's where I got stuff from Billy Pipes. And like Billy Pipes always had a table set up You know, and you can buy
Mhm.
Corellia pumps from him for like $25.
Yeah.
You know, and I
Yeah.
got 2 of my A cans that were supposedly from Dave's Nano Reef when he was doing a thing to support him.
Yeah.
I got them from him. And again, you wait till the end of those shows, especially the little local ones.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Mhm.
all right, 3 corals for $30. It's like, oh, I'll
Yeah.
take 6.
Yeah.
Or the last frag swap I went to locally was in London, a city about half an hour from me now. It used to be over an hour away from where I lived, and now it's a lot closer. And I paid the extra $5 to go in early, like the extra hour early.
Mhm.
And some of the stuff I got was gorgeous. And I didn't mind paying it because guess what? Ultra red Goniopora for $40. Another guy had a whole bunch of different Montipora, like digitata colors, and they were
Mhm.
$20 each. And another one had a whole bunch of different encrusting Monties, and they were $20 each. And so the nice thing was that I didn't mind spending the money because it was a good deal. These were hobbyists, and I got to go in before everybody else because I paid the $5, worth every penny.
Wow.
I mean,
Yeah, when they're from other hobbyists that they've been in aquariums, they're
Yep.
relatively stable. I've
Mhm.
lost more coral from shipping,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
I probably have a 90% success rate from these frag swaps
Yep.
than I had from shipping. Shipping, I'm probably 60%, where things
Yeah.
show up, they're in there
Yeah.
for a minute, and then they just go, yeah, nope, I'm
Yeah.
done. Bye-bye.
Don't want to.
Yeah.
Don't want to be here. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
didn't like
and
that.
and the big shows do that too, but it's like $100 and some or even more for this so-called platinum pass. And I think it's a lot more than that. I'm probably getting the number wrong, but that's beyond the budget that I would have for that. But
Yeah.
like $5 on a $10 ticket for a local frag swap, like
Yeah.
and it goes to a good cause in the sense that
Mhm.
it goes to the local reef club that's putting on the show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, out at the Williamsport one, it's mid Pennsylvania, central Pennsylvania. It's sponsored by the Reef Conservative Society, and it's only $10 to get in. The high school there actually has a 500-gallon reef tank, a like 250-gallon reef tank, and then they have a whole bunch of frag tanks in the back, and they actually have a marine biology class in the high school.
Nice.
And you can go in and actually trade with the high school for corals.
Is that you said that's Williamsport?
Yes.
Yeah, because I think that's where Travis is going to try and rehome Big Bertha.
Yes, they have.
He has mentioned that because they have a big tank there.
Yeah, they got a big tank. They got a little machine there that you can put a quarter in, and it feeds the fish.
Oh, that's cool.
That is really cool.
Yeah, that's.
So, do any of you guys use automatic fish feeders? I'm thinking of getting one for the new tank because I'd like to get a whole bunch of Anthias. And from what I've read, the most success you can have with Anthias is to feed them frequently. And if you use an auto feeder, you're less likely to overfeed. So,
I like my
have
auto
you?
feeder.
Yeah.
Yeah. $10.
I don't have one, but I should. I feed one big blotch in there at night because I'm not home all day. I'm away from home 12 hours a day. So, yeah.
I really need to get like a teaspoon or a measuring spoon because I get a pinch and I put it in like pellets or whatever. And then I go, geez, like the flow took them right down to the bottom. Maybe I should put more in. And it's everything I can do to stop myself from doing that. I'm not very good at self-regulating when it comes to feeding. And that might be why I have algae. That might be why I have algae.
Yeah.
Oh my God, look what I learned on the stream tonight.
No, and the fish always act like they're hungry, so
exactly.
they're always hungry.
And it's fun to watch them eat. Let's face it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, my Hippo Tang every night, it drives me a little bit crazy, but I feed it, and then after they're all done eating, it runs around and splashes water out of the tank. So I have water stains on my ceiling, water stains on my lights. It messes the glass up because it runs down the glass. Like you'll be sitting here on the sofa next to the tank and you'll get hit with water.
It's
like,
that's how my cleaner rat is. Like to splash the tail on top of the water. Got the
every day.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to figure out what to do with lids for the new tank. Don't know yet. I have a 4 and some inch Euro brace, but I think I'm going to want to get lids. I don't want jumpers to get out.
Yeah.
Oh, Nano Joe says Eheim auto feeders, what we use at work. They're reliable and easy to program. Cool. I might look to get one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're cheaper than the ones for the Apex. They're cheaper. Than the
Most things are cheaper than the ones for the Apex, right? Yeah, I still haven't set up the hydros. I was going to set it up for the pH probe and the temperature probe so that I could make sure that I wouldn't have a heater issue if the temperature sensor from the Inkbird got pulled out of the water for some reason. Because right now it's not clamped onto anything or taped down on the edge. It's just sitting in the water up above in the shallow 50. And I triggered the Inkbird by pulling it out of the water because, of course, the temperature drops because it's room air.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody in the comments said it might be a good idea to make sure that can never happen. And so I thought, that's a really good point. So I was going to use the Hydros temperature sensor to be like a backup so that if the Inkbird ever read that like a really low temperature that was way lower than it should be, that it would shut it off so that it wouldn't happen. So I got to figure out how to do that.
Yeah, well, I have my Eheim heaters on an Inkbird plugged into the Apex, so it's true. It's double redundancy.
Yeah, exactly. Well, with this radiant heating system, it's there's a water heater on the wall, and it goes on and off based on a thermostat on demand, pretty much. Well, not on demand, but like normal water heaters where it maintains a certain temperature inside. And then the coils of hose go through the sump, and they're driven by a circulating pump. And the circulating pump is driven by the Inkbird. So the water in the tank's always hot. When the temperature sensor detects like anything below 25.6, I think, then it turns the Inkbird turns the circulating pump on. So the water gets pumped from the heater through the coils and heats up. And then when the temperature reaches 26, then the Inkbird shuts the circulating pump off because the circulating pump is plugged into the Inkbird. And it's working great. But that one weakness is if that temperature sensor for the Inkbird comes out of the water for any reason, it's going to shut it off, or it's going to keep it running. And that's, that could potentially cause problems. So I gotta fix that.
Yeah, you have that thing stapled to the side of the tank, rocks on top of it.
I know, right? And then the cat
because those things pull out. I do it all the time. You go in and mess with something else, and you move a wire, and all of a sudden something's going crazy, and you don't know why. Well, because I'm as good at wire management as you are, Cindy.
Oh, yeah. And that's saying something.
Well, in my case, wire management.
In my case, the cat will come along and pull it out with his tail. Yeah, it's crazy. Well, a lot of what's downstairs now that's so insane is temporary. So I'm not too concerned about it. Like I have 7 or 8 power head controllers stashed everywhere. And once the sump is actually a sump and not a reef tank, a temporary reef tank, I can get rid of a lot of those because I don't need the turbulent flow. you know, I just need flow to push detritus through so that it doesn't settle. And
Yeah.
so I'll probably just put a couple of opposing pumps so that, you know, the stuff will swirl around and stay in the water column. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Yeah, it's temporary for the next 7 years. For the
Yeah, right. No, but it really is temporary. But it has to wait till my other tank gets here, so who knows how long that's going to be.
It's
Yeah.
working. Don't mess with it. It's working.
Yeah. I
Yep.
learned my lesson with the cable management. It's not. I just leave it the way it is. Because when you gotta get to something to take it out, to clean it, you gotta disconnect. No.
Yeah.
I did that.
Yeah.
Well, that's what
I'm never gonna do that ever again.
Yeah, we
Well, you
learned
see all
that.
these videos with the nice power boards and everything lined up real nice, but there's still a giant mess behind it.
Behind
It's
it,
true. It's true. So for this tank, that's why I've got a plug on the left and a plug on the right, and each one has 4 outlets, and they're GFCIs, and they're all in their own circuits. And the idea is, I am not having wires crossing behind the tank. Not happening. Because man, oh man, did that ever cause me trouble with a Red Sea tank. That was just a nightmare. And the other thing we learned is that we honestly thought bundling up the wires was a good idea because it kept everything tidy. And we even bundled them up in such a way that they were easy to take apart. But the thing is, you got like 10 wires in a bundle. You don't know which one you need when you're trying to pull a piece of equipment. So you start yanking on it, and yeah, the plug moves, and then it gets snagged on something. And then you're going, oh, so you're wiggling it around, and like, geez, honestly, yeah, that's one thing that I'm really, really going to avoid in this tank. Even to the point where they're not built yet because we have to wait till the tank gets here. But there's a channel down either side through which the extension cord goes for the power bar that's up in the canopy that has the lights plugged into it and the little USB fans. And my husband is building little cabinets for the controllers for the the Max Spec jump gyres, because I have one for each side. So the one that's on the left is getting plugged in, and the controller's going on the left and the same on the right. I'm going to have some sort of pumps in my overflow so that nothing can settle at the bottom and just create a nitrate factory. I want to keep that stuff up in the water column. And whatever's on the left is getting plugged in on the left and same right. And so he's building these little control boards for me that'll have doors on them. So at the side of the tank, when I need to control something, I'm going to open the door, and the controllers will be on the door. And then I'll close the door, and then they'll go back to the wall. And it's all going to be plugged in right underneath behind the stand. Right. So if I can avoid crossing wires, that's my biggest thing. And the other thing is, because the sump is downstairs, the only equipment upstairs that I need to be electric, like that has plugs, is the lights and water flow and maybe a fish feeder. Yeah. So it's not like I'm going to have everything. I'm not going to have skimmer, heaters, sump churn pumps, return pump, like none of that. That's all separate. Yeah. So I dream of a time when I can float into my fish room and open a little door and press a button and put some food in and sit in my chair in the corner and watch my fish eat. And it's going to be lovely.
Right.
I think it's mathematically impossible that any wires that are next to each other that exhibit any kind of movement will tangle.
Oh, of course they will.
They will just
Yeah.
And you know, the number of times the F-bombs that get dropped around here by me, I admit it, I'm going, how the fuck do these things get wrapped around each other 900 times? Yeah. Because it's not just one cross. It's like twisted.
Yeah, and knots, even knots.
It's like there's a little wire gremlin that comes in the middle of the night and just mixes them all. I honestly don't know because you try so hard.
Yeah.
Okay, when I plug this back in, I'm going to run it down here, put it behind this wire, under this wire, back up behind that wire, and into the plug. And the next time you go to get it out, it's
Nope.
like,
That don't work.
man, oh man. Oh, good night, Benny. Thanks for coming by. Oh yeah, Marcus, that's whatever you do, don't leave power strips on the floor. I've had 2 of them start on fire. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I have any right now. I
I
used to.
I have 2 right now.
I have go
Pick
ahead.
them up. I gotta pick them up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hung mine up. I had one sitting behind the bucket of my top off water, and then dumped a whole bucket of top off water on top of it.
Yeah, that is
Was not good.
screw the drip loops.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a channel that goes right down in the power bar.
Oh,
Like, this was
know.
dumb. I know better than this. Why did I do that?
yeah.
Honestly, it was a big decision for us with the lighting to put the power bars up in the canopy because we're trying to figure out a way to get them so that I could put them like somewhere that I could easily reach them. And then it was like, okay, all that's going to be plugged in is lights. So if we plug everything in, then the plug for the power bar goes into the wall. So I have one plug for all the lights. And I can reach like that white netting that I put across. It's flexible enough that you can turn the power bar on and off by pushing through the netting. Like it reaches all the way. So if I'm standing on my platform, I can reach up and turn the power bar on and off without having to peel back anything.
Nice.
So because
how often do you really mess with your lights?
This is what I was thinking. Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's what I said to my husband. Like of all the things I have, it's the least likely that the lights are going to get unplugged for some reason. And so that's why we thought, okay, we'll put the power bar up there. So that's, so we'll see how it works. It could be a terrible mistake. I'm going to find out.
Everything's a great idea until you do it.
I know. Yeah. I need a T-shirt that said it seemed like a good idea at the time. Any plan to add cams to monitor the sump area from other parts of the house? Yes. I was using a Wise Cam before, and I'm looking into doing it again with the Wise Cams because I really do like them and they're inexpensive. But it's suddenly hard to get them shipped to Canada. And I don't know whether it's the same as everything. Oh, Nano Joe. Good night, Nano Joe. Thanks for coming by. Nice to talk to you. And I don't know if it's like a computer chip shortage thing where their manufacturing is slowing down, so they're just keeping it in the US and not bothering with the international shipping, or they can't be arsed to do the paperwork. I don't know what it is, but we're looking into what to use, because the other issue is any Wi-Fi camera like that, you really need a good signal. And because we're in the basement down there, I don't know. It's going to be a matter of trying to figure out what's going to work, whether we have to get the internet people back to put some sort of a booster in, or because we have Bell, and there are these little pods that you can get that boost your internet through your house. And when the guy came, I told him what I was doing, and he said, "Oh no, it'll be fine." And now I've noticed that when I go downstairs in the corner that's where the dosing pump is, I don't even have Wi-Fi on my phone. I don't even have cell signal. So I don't know how reliable it's going to be. So what we do as far as cameras, I haven't decided yet whether to try and go with Wi-Fi or just go with a wired system and just work with it that way. I honestly, I don't know.
I think the wire system is going to be more safe.
Yeah, more stable. And I know to change the password so that my sump doesn't end up on the internet somewhere because somebody hacks into my password, right? And all of that is coming back to haunt people again, too. It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's still a lot to work out. I mean,
Mhm.
you think about it and think about it and think about it. And you know what it's like? This is exactly what it's like. You know, you go to the coral show and you think, that's nice, that's nice, that's nice. I wasn't going to buy 20 corals, but oh well. I think I can put this one here and this one here and this one here. And you get home and you try and do that and it won't go there.
It won't
The
go.
stupid frag plug won't stay in that spot. Or you got to put it sideways and the coral's not going to be happy if it's sideways. And
Yeah.
yeah, I run
Because
into that
reefers
all
are
the
not
time.
impulsive at all.
No. Oh man.
No, it's not that. We're optimistic, right? You have to be an optimist to have success in this hobby because you got to believe when you wake up tomorrow it's going to be better, especially when you run into problems.
Yeah.
When you're trying to plant all those frags and you're like, until you're done.
Yeah.
Or you buy that fish that's like, oh, that's so great. Oh, it's killing everything.
Yeah, exactly. Because they say it needs 6 to 8 inches of space, but you don't realize that 6 to 8 inches of space on a 3-inch frag is actually 15 inches of space.
Yeah.
Because it needs 6 to 8 all around it,
All
from
around
every edge.
it.
Yeah.
It's not just in a little 6 to 8 inch bubble. Oh no, like that's the range of those things. Yeah.
Yeah, a year ago they were 6 inches apart, and now they're killing each other.
Yeah.
Look how successful I am.
I'm doing great. Everything's dying.
Yeah, Taryn says, Cindy, any update on the tank? I missed the beginning of the stream if you updated. Yep, there's probably a few more people that have joined in since then. I got a notice on Wednesday. I got a message from the LFS guy that they were getting ready to ship my tank, either the end of this week, which would have been yesterday, or early next week, which would be like Monday. And I was thrilled. I was so happy. I'm sure I told a few people on Instagram that have been kind of talking to about it. And then Thursday, we had a letter in our mailbox that they're going to be paving the final lift of asphalt in our little area. So it's about 2 blocks because it's the final phase of the subdivision. And they got to spray this stuff on the road, and you're not supposed to walk or drive on it. And we might have to park elsewhere in the next 7 to 10 days. And so I was going to phone them and say, like, could you narrow it down? Are we like at the beginning of the 7 to 10 days or the end of the 7? Anyway, so I contacted the fish store guy right away, and he's going to see if he can get the shipment delayed. So if they do pave, if the weather permits and they get it paved, I'm expecting to have it by the end of the month without any problems. So
if you have my luck, that's when the
As long
pavers
as-
will show up.
as long as-
You can delay it all you want.
as long as that plane doesn't crash or that train doesn't fall off the tracks or that truck doesn't flip over on the ramp, like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I have no
Yeah,
luck with that
thanks,
stuff.
I know, right? Yeah, I do feel a lot better. I was down for the count. I caught a cold from my grandson. He had to quarantine from daycare because he had a runny nose. So what they have to do is they wait 24 hours to see if it goes away. And before he could go back to the daycare, he had to have a negative COVID test, if you can believe it. So from a runny nose, it lasted 2 days. On the 3rd day, my daughter took him for the COVID test so that he could go back to the daycare. And my husband and I babysat him while he still had a runny nose because he had a cold. And so, of course, you know, I'm picking him up and we're playing and he's sneezing in my face. And so I got a cold. So I got a cold and I was starting to feel it on Tuesday. And that's when I fell down and really hurt
Oh,
myself. And but didn't break anything, I don't think, unless my kneecap is broken, which is possible. And I can say, look, don't worry if anyone says they're going to break your kneecaps, because you can still walk and it really doesn't hurt that much. And then we got our COVID shots on Wednesday. And so with the cold, I don't get a cold often, maybe once every 5 years. I almost always get laryngitis. So that's what happened. My voice just goes out, and I have a day or two of pain. And then after that, still can't talk. It doesn't hurt. So you're going, this doesn't hurt. Why can't I talk? And it's really hard not to talk. Yeah. Well, if you're me, it is. But anyway, so that's kind of why I felt so crappy. And then these idiots were, it's like, old ladies shouldn't be doing this live stream and reefing stuff if you keep getting sick all the time. And I'm going, what? Like, where is this coming from? Like, seriously? Like, who has time for that? And then, and there was one, like, if you need a night off, just take a night off. Don't make up stories about being sick. I'm thinking,
oh man,
what? So I don't know if
what
it was.
The hell? What the hell?
I think I've identified. I have a very strong suspicion of one of them, and I think maybe the other two were the same with different accounts.
Yeah.
So it just pissed me off, because I just thought, like, really, like.
Yeah.
And sometimes if you're not feeling good, everything seems worse than it is. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I get trolls. Like, you can't believe the trolls. You can't believe how long the list is I have of blocked people. But I don't like, it doesn't bother me. Usually it's like, oh man, you wasted your time setting up an account for what?
Usually the same people setting more accounts.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Fine,
know all
whatever.
the secrets.
And I get email notification when there are comments on my videos. And I don't sleep real well, so I'm up several times during the night. And guess what? I'm addicted, so I look at my email. So, like, sometimes I catch a comment when it's been up there for like 3 minutes. And I just take it down. And it's so like, really, was it worth it? The whole account that you'll never be able to use again because now you're blocked. And oh yeah, it just, I don't know.
Nah, I have way better things to do. I don't understand it. I'll never will.
No, me neither. Yeah, who has time for that? I don't know. I just like to imagine them sitting in their mom's basement, waiting for her to bring down their clean laundry and their supper on a tray.
I want that too. I want that.
Yeah. Sounds like a lifestyle choice.
Just working stuff, man. What are we doing? What are we doing?
Yeah. What do you do for a living, Sean?
Sean? Chad?
Happy
me?
Reefer? Yeah. Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh my God, I got you mixed up with somebody else. Chad, I don't remember that. Okay.
Yeah, I'm a production manager of a machine shop.
Oh, cool. Yep.
Yeah,
So
we
it's
do
noisy.
a lot of. It's noisy. It's dirty. It's long, stressful hours, but we do a lot of work for our government, for the Navy, and our military.
Yeah.
A lot of military work, which pays well, but it's also extraordinarily stressful and paperwork heavy and all that good stuff. It's
high stakes for a good product.
Yeah, it's again, when we don't do high quantities of stuff because we're doing stuff for submarines and aircraft carriers and all that good stuff. So everything is super expensive, and a lot of people don't get it. That you're like, okay, you work in an office and you make a typo, someone laughs at you or makes you correct it. As a machinist, them guys, or as a programmer, you make a mistake and type something in wrong, and you just scrapped a $50,000 part. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's called impact of error.
It's but it's not boring, and it's always been a challenge, and it's what keeps me interested in it.
Yeah.
There's good days where you get to go back and say, hey, I just made this part for this nuclear submarine.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Cool.
You know,
Oh yeah.
and then there's that day where I just screwed this part up for this nuclear submarine, and I want to go hide in a hole. Yeah.
But the main thing is you realize you screwed it up before it actually got put in the nuclear submarine.
Yeah, it's heavy on inspection. Oops, phone's dying.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
heavy government inspection. Uh-oh, my phone's shutting off. Looks like I'm out of here. Sorry.
All right. Well, thanks for coming by, Chad.
Have a good
Come
night.
We'll
again
talk to you
soon.
again.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. That's cool. Yeah, Hector, are you still cutting hair? Like what? I know you
Right
do a lot
now,
of different things.
yeah. Right now, I got that on hold right now until I finish organizing everything here.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go back into it.
Yeah.
It's just a few clients that I got left. They been there for me, a
Yeah.
part of me cutting their hair. So
Yeah.
I
And I
stay
know
faithful to them.
with the COVID, I mean, look at this. I can
Yeah,
hardly
yeah.
stand it. Honestly,
Yeah,
it's like there's way too much of it.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I it's driving me crazy. And
yeah.
my appointment that was supposed to be June 14th is now July 30th.
Oh
And
wow.
before that it was supposed to be in May. And
Man.
no, I messed it up. Like, well, I mean, who cares,
Yeah,
right?
so I'm trying to take it easy because of that too.
Yeah.
You cannot just bring. You gotta know exactly what they do for a living. So who they see,
Yeah.
where they are, how many people
Yeah.
are they around,
Yeah.
how they stay safe before you
Yeah.
bring them to your house. So
Exactly. Yeah.
I got one that he's a fireman, so I'm pretty sure he's doing everything that he needs to do to stay safe.
Yeah.
And even
Yeah.
though he do everything he need to, he did. Well, his wife got sick, and he didn't
Yeah.
get it. Even though he was in the same roof, he didn't get it. His son didn't get it. But you never know. That's the thing with this thing. You never know who can
Yep.
get it and who's immune to it.
Exactly.
So, but right now I'm
Oh yeah.
just happy where I'm at. A lot of people have told me that I sound different. I sound
Yeah.
more. My
I
energy went
noticed
up.
that. Yeah, I noticed that right away. You just
Yeah,
seem happier.
yeah. So yeah, everything from now on is just moving forward,
Yep.
not looking back. Here I can do whatever I want.
Yep.
Build, destroy a wall and build it
Yep.
again if I need to.
Yep.
So
Hmm.
I'm gonna be doing a lot of interesting things now again.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, the only thing I can't do is have guests at my house unless they want to sleep on the sofa because I'm sitting in the bedroom.
yep.
That's where my tank is going to go, right?
Nice, nice.
But I guess we could finish a bedroom in the basement eventually. Eventually, we will. We just finished a TV room down there, so there was a finished space, so my husband could have
Yeah, yeah,
his big guy TV on the wall, and
yeah.
me, I don't
Nice.
care. I've got this little. I think the computer monitor I'm looking at right now is probably bigger than my TV,
Oh wow,
and I
nice.
hardly ever watch TV. I do a lot of watching stuff on my iPad.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah. I think the TV days are pretty much done.
it feels like it. Other than
Yeah.
news, like
Yep.
newscasts at 6 o'clock,
Newscast.
we get the
Yep.
local news. We watch for an hour, and that's pretty much it.
And that's pretty much
Because
it. Yeah.
I mean, remember in the 80s when you would have to make sure you were home on Thursday night at 9 o'clock to watch ER
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
because
yeah,
there was
yeah.
no other way to watch it. And I even
Mm-hmm.
remember when VCRs were first invented, and
Mm-hmm.
they were
Mm-hmm.
expensive,
Oh yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
and that was the only way. And then you had a consecutive tape, so if you wanted to tape a couple shows, you have to swap the tape in between or have all the different shows in a row, and then you have to
No,
try and find them. And like, oh man, people have
it was
people have no
creative back
idea.
then. It was creative.
Yeah.
We found our ways to put all that together in one tape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now it's just so nice, and I love the idea of being able to. I mean, even this room, I can come in here with my iPad, and I can
Yeah.
watch people's videos, and I just really enjoy that when I get the time, for sure. And then even doing the live, because I've got the doors over there, and all I have to do is take the table, turn it in the doorway, and the tank will be behind me.
Wow, nice.
So that's what I'm really hoping to do. I mean, I'll probably have to have the doors open and kind of be halfway in the hallway.
Okay.
Because I don't know whether there's space for the chair, and I don't know though. I mean, right where the edge of my table is where the front of the tank's going to be, so I might be able to just have the door shut for the sound, right?
Yeah.
And have the tank like immediately behind me.
So you right now are sitting exactly where the tank goes.
Yeah, I'm sitting under the canopy, the lights,
wow.
and the windows in front of me, and the front edge of the tank will be immediately to my left, and then the back of the tank will be that way, and the side of it goes right under the table. So the side of the tank is 2 feet from the front wall. And then on the other side, it's 30 inches from the wall. We put it offset because I wanted enough space, because I figured with the sink back there, I would want more space on that side for going back and forth, right?
Yeah.
So the only hard thing is it's going to be hard to get video of this side of the tank, because it's going to be like having 3 5-foot tanks, because they're, and you have to get a little bit of a ways back if you want a full tank shot. So, a lot of my full tank shot will have to be from a corner from high, because I won't. So there's all that to discover too with how it's all gonna
get filmed and all that.
Yeah.
Can't wait. It's gonna be
nice. Like it feels like so long. It was October of 2019, November of 2019. We set up the 90-gallon tank, because we knew then we were going to move. And I knew I didn't want to get rid of my Red Sea reef. I wanted, because I'd spent so long building it, I wanted to try and keep as much of it as I could, and not just tear it all down and sell it and then start over. And so I knew it would take time to set up a tank and get it established enough that I could move it. And that's just kind of how it went. I just didn't think it would be in that spot for, like, I guess 9 months before I finally got 9 months. Yeah. Before I finally got to move it.
Yeah.
So I've moved my reef like twice. I moved it in June of 2020, and I moved it in March of 2021.
Yep.
And then it's going to get moved again.
But
I mean,
I'm telling you, we got our reef in wheels.
Yeah, that's right. But it's going to be not so much of a move, because it's going to be the same system, because right now it's downstairs, right? It's running.
Yeah.
And when I hook the 2 tanks up, it's going to be the same water going through.
Same water,
for at least a couple of weeks, until I see how it all runs, to make sure I don't have any problems.
Yeah. My plans right now is, if I ever need to, just upgrade the tank to a bigger tank. That's it. No moving unless we moving out of this house. That's about it.
Yeah.
But,
it's stressful.
Yeah.
And you put your heart and soul into it, and then to consider the idea of completely giving it up just so you can start over again.
Yeah. No, and the most stressful part is keeping everything alive. That's the stressful part,
Yep.
Because every time I move the tank, I've been keeping the same water. I do make always a 10-gallon extra, just to do a water change in the process, and they start throwing all this slime out and all that.
Yep.
But that's the hardest part, just keeping everything alive. Especially when you gotta travel from one place to another, nothing bumps to each other and doesn't kill each other in the process. So
exactly.
And also be careful that you don't break the tank, because if you break the tank,
then what do you do?
Yeah. I was so uncomfortable with the situation I was going on moving the tank. The once I drink the 40, I hugged that thing, on my own. I grabbed it, walk out of the house like it was a feather.
Yeah.
That was with sand inside
Yeah.
by myself. I
Yeah.
think that's why my back got hurt afterward. I felt it afterwards.
Yeah.
But
Yep. So
yeah,
true.
it's not fun. It's fun and it's not moving the tank. It's fun to set it back up and then to fix those little things that you did wrong the first time you
Yep.
set it up. Um,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's not fun because you just stress that things are gonna die.
Yeah.
That's the worst part about it.
Yep. Well, I look forward to the day that I can go, what coral am I going to bring from downstairs to upstairs today?
That'd be nice. Yeah, that'd be nice. You're gonna add sand to this one?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I will
natural.
have sand.
Yeah.
I like sand, and I figured it out. The depth will be no more than 1.5 inches anywhere.
Yeah.
And all of my rock pieces I built with little feet, like pedestals on them.
Mm-hmm.
So when I like, I made an arch and I added legs under it. So when I set it down on the glass, I'll fill the sand in.
Yeah.
So I'll be able to see my entire arch. But any critters that want to live in the sand or crawl under it, they can do it because I've got the legs there.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's not. My idea was minimal contact with sand to keep the amount of detritus down, because anywhere the rock contacts the sand, you get dirt, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I just thought, if I could keep the points of contact small, it just minimizes the dirt, right? So who knows if it'll work? I don't know. And my big rocks around the back, I did not put feet on those before I put them in the curing things, because I don't know 100% if I'll be able to get them back together the same way. And I didn't want to put a support on one piece and end up not having a support on another piece and have problems while I'm putting them together, because they're coming out of water. They're live. They've been in there for 5 months, and I don't want them to die off. So there's still a lot of unknowns. I'm gonna have to go slow. Plus, they're heavy.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna have to stand up on a platform. Like my husband will help me, and you can't slide the rocks on the glass. So you pretty much have to put it where you want it. And if it's not quite right, you got to lift it up and adjust it, set it down again, so it's going to be a process.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have enough water in there to cover it. So I'm going to be working in the water as well. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It'll be nice though. It's going to be nice. I love the footprint. I love it. Love it.
And I was wondering, because it's almost like a lagoon, because it's not very deep. It's 21 inches, which is as deep as I can reach.
Yeah.
And just the 5 by 5.5 is I think it's going to be way bigger in real life than I'm imagining.
Than you imagining, yeah.
Because when I had the rocks laid out on the table, I had so much open space. I just kind of made a curved area at the back. And it's out from the back about 6 inches, so that lots of room for fish to move.
Yeah.
And lots of tall caves for big fish, and I was trying to think ahead.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
You've been doing good with this one, preparing for everything.
Yeah. Well, this is going to be
you
it.
got the filtration going already.
Yep.
That's a big plus.
Well, those canisters, they were packed with media. I had 2 of them, and all of that media is in the back of the 150. And it's just that's where the water comes down from the 50 down. The pipe goes back, and it goes right through that media. Wow. And I have a power head directed down in to keep moving the water around. So, and then all of the rocks in the sump chamber. They're also being cured. And then my reef is all on rocks, like the live rock. That's at least 5 years old, some of it. So, you know, I don't think I'm going to have a problem with a cycle of any type. I think it's just going to be a matter of, will I get algae?
Yeah.
Once the lights are on, I don't know. Have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I should say good night because I should really get up and walk. I've been trying not to bend my leg just so that I don't, you
Yeah.
know, like
Yeah,
don't
you
get a
need to
blood
exercise
clot.
it. Yeah.
Blood clot on the live stream.
Yeah, I saw it
That would
earlier. I
suck.
saw the bruise in your arm when you
Oh,
saw
I
it on the
know.
live stream.
It's just, and this is nothing. It was like black. It was pretty
Yeah, wow.
awful.
Wow.
Yeah, I just, someone was watching over me because I broke no bones that I know of.
Good. Wow.
Yeah, Aquascape Engineering, Marcus Arliss. Can't wait to see it. Yeah, you and me both, brother. Right now, it's all up here.
Yeah. It's the big picture.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, exactly. And I know there's going to be surprises, and I know there's going to be things I thought I could do that I won't be able to, and then I got to change my plans.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's always for the best.
yeah, and I'll document it.
Something. Yeah, it's always for the best.
Yeah. Yeah, because I don't even know what the flow is going to be like with those gyres.
Exactly.
No idea. No idea.
You up for the challenge of cleaning them?
Yeah, actually, the jump gyre apparently is designed so it's easier to clean.
To clean, yeah.
And because the original ones were from what I understand were pretty fragile, and it was hard to get the pieces apart, and then hard to get them back together again.
Back together. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm going to. I mean, I do it with my power heads. I have a small curved brush, like it's an OXO brush that has a curved head on it with pretty stiff bristles, and they're different lengths. And I frequently brush my power heads with that just to keep, because you know how the stuff gets cruddy around the outside. So that's what I've been doing, is brushing them off. So I think I'll try and do the same thing, but you have to be careful because I don't want to end up damaging the blades inside until I have it apart and see how it's made. I won't know whether the brush thing is going to work, but hey, listen, I'm optimistic. I'm a reef keeper.
Yep.
I can keep it clean, right?
Yeah, yes you can. Yes you can. What I've been doing lately is I'm not even. I did clean them, and since I took them out of the water to bring them here. But what I was doing, just open the power head right under the water, clean, turning it off, cleaning the blade, cleaning the inside, put it back together. It's clean.
Yeah.
I I didn't mind the coralline algae growing on the plastic part, so
no,
and they work just fine. You know, don't have to put in citric acid, wait that long, or vinegar, and
I've got right away from vinegar now. And I just use the citric acid.
Citric acid,
yeah. But the only problem with the only problem I found with the coralline is if you don't get it off, it turns white.
Yeah.
And because it dies, right? And it just I was always worried about. Yeah, and I don't want the magnesium to leach back in to the tank, because coralline algae, it uses so much magnesium, and then when it dies, it leaches back. And so, but that's a good idea to do it underwater, because then you wouldn't have that problem. But if as soon as it's exposed
the
to the air,
bad thing is that I just get the power head. Unless every week you just turn it off and brush it off. I mean, not every week, but every 2 weeks. You know.
Sure. Yeah.
Brush it off and keep it clean. That way, coralline algae doesn't attach to it.
Yeah.
But I don't mind the look of the coralline algae either on a few pieces. You know, that lets you know the tank is healthy, or everything is the right the right direction.
I've got coralline all over the stock tanks. It's growing all over the inside of it.
Nice.
And it's starting to grow a little bit on the frag racks, but not much. But it's on the black stock tank. So I don't know. Maybe it likes black plastic, because it always grew on the back wall.
Yeah, I think
it was
so
weird.
Too.
Yeah, and true, black plastic because of the power heads too, right?
Power head, it grows super fast on power heads. Super fast.
Yeah.
So I think whoever is out there starting to be a reefer and want coralline algae, put something black inside the tank, and you're gonna see.
Yeah, you know what? Exactly.
That's a
Yeah,
good
just put
experiment.
like a piece of black PVC or something
Yeah, I think
in the
that's a good
corner somewhere.
experiment. Instead of dosing that coralline liquid,
Yeah,
just put a plastic in there and you'll be good.
yeah.
Black plastic. I think so. That's a good experiment. I'm gonna try that.
Oh
See
my
what
God.
happens.
Yeah, that is a good idea. Let me know what
Yeah.
happens. Make a video.
Yeah,
Experiment.
yeah.
Here's an
Will
experiment.
do. Yeah.
I wonder how you'd have to. Oh well, you'd figure it out.
Yeah.
How to do it to know whether it's the plastic or what it is.
It's good to try in basically in two separate tanks. One
Yeah.
dosing the coralline algae liquid and one just plastic, and see which one grows
Yeah.
faster.
Yeah, and then if you got
that's the way this experiment gotta go, I think.
and if you got like a frag plug or something that had it on,
Mhm.
then you could break it apart and try and equally as close as you can anyway.
Yeah,
Make
yeah.
sure the equal amounts and drop the frag plug in and
Yeah.
see which one grows coralline algae faster on
Coralline
the
algae.
new piece of rock that you put in there that doesn't have
Yeah,
anything on it.
Yeah.
Sounds like it needs to be a BRS investigates, right?
Yeah. That's true. Maybe we could suggest something like that to them, see if they make it happen.
Hey,
Or we
I'd be
do it.
interested in knowing. Yeah.
we
Like,
do
because really, if that's a fast way of doing it, why wouldn't you? Because you can just scrape it off the black so that it goes all over the place.
All over the place, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. now my brain is going 100 miles per hour. We
Oh
try
no, you won't be
something.
able to sleep.
Yeah.
Cool.
To see how I can do a setup, so I can see.
Yeah.
Okay, we
Yeah.
can do this. We can do that. And I got
Next-
rocks. I got
Oh,
plain white rocks, dry
Good.
rocks, so that we could use.
yep. Next time you're here, let's talk about the DIY chiller.
Definitely. Yes.
Yeah.
We will.
Yeah.
It's connected. It's kicking.
Yeah, because that was my latest thing that I got mad at on a forum because I won't go into the details, but yeah, I was
Mhm.
describing your DIY chiller and somebody was not very nice about it.
Ah, it's
So,
always one. It's
I
always
went, you know
somebody out
what?
there.
It looked like you were having trouble. I just tried to give you a suggestion to get you through until you could do something right. And you're
Unless they
biting my
want to
head
spend
off.
$600.
Like, geez, next time I won't bother.
Yeah, unless they want to spend $600 on the chiller, go ahead.
I know, right? Like,
And there's so
yeah.
many ways that you can make it happen. And I got kind of the idea from Joey, from the King
Yeah.
of DIY, and right now you can get as any size of little fridge out there.
Yeah.
So you could try different sizes. If the small one doesn't work, try a little bigger
Yeah.
one.
And the other thing is, with a chiller, we keep our tanks 77 to 79-ish, something like that.
Yeah.
So you don't want it to go above, let's say, 81, because that's starting to get into a danger zone.
Yeah.
So you set up your chiller so that if it goes above 79, it turns on, right? So all it has to do is keep the tank
the water
from 79.5 down to 79.
Yeah.
And that's half a degree. And everybody's going, yeah, but if your room is 85, that thing will be going all the time and it'll never keep up with it and whatever. No. It's because you don't have to go from 85 down to 79. You're going to go from 79.5 down to 79.
To 79.
You know,
exactly.
yeah, maybe it will run all the time, but it'll work.
It'll work.
And
Yeah.
It's like the radiant heating thing, because the water that's in there is circulating at I'm talking Fahrenheit 77, 78.
Yep.
It goes back into the heater at 77, whatever, maybe 76, but probably not.
Yep.
So the heater heats it up from 78-ish, not from your tap water, which is 60 degrees.
Yeah. Yeah.
So people are thinking, well, it's going to take way too long. It's never going to. No, because the water that's circulating never goes below
No, yeah.
76 and a half. At its very
Mhm.
lowest, it'll be 76 and a half, and not even
Mhm.
that, probably
Not
70. You know what I
even.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's temperature differential that matters. And I mean,
Mhm.
all these little heaters we have operate on, if your ambient temperature in your room is X, you got to set the heater at Y, because it will only go so much different than the
Yeah.
ambient room temperature.
Yeah.
Other,
Yeah.
other than that, you got to get a different size heater because it can go
Mhm.
higher, right?
Fire. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's the same principle. Like
No,
if
and
you're
so
not
far it's
real,
been working fine.
yeah,
It's
cool. That's
been like
cool.
the highest ago and the hottest day we got over here. Without using the AC from the window, it was 79. It didn't go
Yeah,
higher than that.
yeah,
It didn't go higher. And I
yeah,
got the temperature set at 78, and once it goes 79, then the chiller turn
yep,
on. I know that,
yep,
and I've been staying 79, no problem.
yeah, yeah. And how long does it
So
usually run when it does that? Do you know?
it do takes a little time to get it down to 78.
Yep.
But it works. That's
Yeah,
all I
yeah,
care. As
yeah.
long as it's working, um,
And
like when it gets 98 outside, it's really
hmm
hot, then
hmm
that's why I put the fan on top of so it could blow away the heat from the lights, because
yeah,
that's what wasn't keeping the chiller from bringing the temperature fast enough.
yep,
But I would say like in a 12-hour period, we'll bring it down
hmm
to normal temp.
yep.
So that's good. Good enough
Yeah,
for me.
because even if it kept it below 80, like, or 80, that's better than having
That's a
it shoot
win.
up to 80. And it's just a matter of controlling it long
Hmm.
enough to make it through
Through the
until the
heat
temperature
wave,
normalizes
yeah,
again. Like
yeah.
it's so
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, if you're gonna have a chiller and spend $600 on it and you only need it for 2 weeks of the year,
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
really, like a
Like,
DIY thing for under $200 all in,
yeah,
like,
it's a
and
win.
and
It's a
somebody
win.
said, "Oh yeah, but those things generate so much heat." And I said, "Well, no, you're thinking of a regular little refrigerator. This isn't
Hmm.
that. This
Yeah,
is
no.
meant to use in your car."
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
mean, you can't avoid the heat generation because it's a heat
It's
exchanger in a way.
exactly, yeah.
You are going to get some, but
Hmm.
if you put a fan on it, like you said, you
Hmm.
can direct
Hmm.
it away from where it's operating. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
people just have no imagination. I
Yeah,
think
yeah, they're
that's
always
part
looking
of it.
for excuses. Just excuses.
Well,
That
or
those are people that don't know how to do nothing.
yeah, and they just want to plug and play. And
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But sometimes plug and play costs a lot of money that you could be using for other things, right?
No, or they want to continue not finding solutions, going through the
Yeah.
headache that either going to the store to grab a bag of ice, or this
Hmm.
is not cooling enough fast enough. The water is not frozen fast enough to keep up with the water temperature in the tank.
Yeah.
No, last year I had like 10 fans connected to the tank. That's not fun. And
No.
then you got to be careful nobody walks around the tank that's going to knock one of those fans inside the tank. No,
Yep.
no,
Yep. Yep.
no.
No, it's
But
brilliant. I
is always trying to find an easier way. If like me, I don't want to spend $300 $400 on a chiller, so I try to find it's
Yep.
other ways that we can make it happen. So,
Yeah. And
but I
plus having it near your tank somewhere and running hoses in and out of it, like,
hmm
to me, that there's a risk involved in that. And I mean, I
yeah,
know yours uses you have bulkheads, but only for the hose to run through.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
your hose isn't connected on the inside and the outside. The
yeah,
hose just runs through,
yeah. Just run through
So,
it. Yeah, yeah.
like, to me, that is way, way, way safer, less risky.
Yeah, yeah. I was thinking to put connections to it, but I said no. If I could just make the hole big enough that I
Yeah.
could just squirrel that thing in there
Yep.
or coil the thing inside, and
Yep.
the only risky part right now, basically the return of the chiller. I got it with a sit tight to
Hmm.
the return, just so I
Oh,
could drop
yeah.
the water in the return. But somebody need to walk by the tank and
Yeah.
tangle itself with the hose so it could come out.
Yeah. It's going to empty it.
Yeah, but right now it's so far so good. So far so good. So
Cool. Cool, cool.
keeping that temp where it need to be.
Nice.
All right,
right.
I'll let you go. We could go
Yeah,
all
I'm
night.
going to say goodnight. I know, it's crazy. And thanks to everybody who stuck around. We still got 17 people here. That's
Oh, wow.
awesome.
Wow,
I
thanks.
appreciate every one of you for being here for so long because,
Mhm.
yeah, it's Saturday night, and I'm looking forward to next Saturday night again. I'm looking at, I've got some, I gave Fish of Hex, Travis, a couple of dates to come back and join us again. It's always
Nice.
fun. He's an interesting guy, has a lot of knowledge and
A lot
experience to
going on
offer.
in his life.
Oh,
In the
yeah.
reefing life, he got a lot of things going on.
Yeah,
It's
for
cool.
sure.
It's cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's cool.
So I don't know when that'll be, but I'll let you guys know. And I did not put out reminder videos the last 2 weeks in a row, other than the video last week about the trolling. But and I think it seems to be okay. I think when I set up the stream, people are finding it, and I hope if you're watching a replay and you didn't know the stream was going on, let me know if you want me to resume the videos, because I can do that. It doesn't take much time. I just try and be original every time, but I don't think many people actually watch them, and that's okay.
No,
I'm not doing it for views, but I want to make sure that it's something that's useful for people.
Believe it or not, that's how I find if you're gonna do the streams or not. I look for those little short videos.
Yeah, I know. See, so, and that's why I don't want to make people miss out if it's something that they wanted to be made aware of. So yeah, maybe I should go back to it. And guess what? I'm going to have a tank pretty soon that I can get new footage, so I don't have to keep reorganizing all the old footage.
Yeah. Nice.
Cool. All right. Well, good night.
Have a good night. Thank you for
good
having
night,
me
everybody
here,
in the
like always.
chat. Yeah, I appreciate the time you spent.
No, always.
And
always.
We'll see you again soon.
Pleasure. Definitely.
And good night, everybody. Take
Good
care of
night.
yourselves. Yeah. And we will be back again next week and see how things go. Hopefully I won't do something stupid to my leg or fall over or get sick, but I think I've had my 5-year cold. So yeah, thanks for coming by. And
No problem.
take care of yourself, everybody. Yep. Good night, all. Cool.